All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is the last day of November, November 30th, 2022. At this moment, not far from where I am, they're having a vigil for the 4 students who were killed at the University of Idaho in Moscow. And I want to talk about why they waited to have the vigil on a Wednesday on the last day of November in light of some of the other stories that are in the headlines today. Again, it's a very familiar pattern, and in case you don't even know what happened with those students in Moscow, we'll also cover that because we solved the mystery as soon as the news broke. It was no accident that you had 2 university murders in the news in the same day. Of course, it was the 3 football players at Virginia, members of the Cavaliers, and then also the 4 students in Moscow, Idaho. But today, the day they're having the vigil, is a date with numerology of 83. Again, you get that numerology by adding 11 plus 30 plus 20 plus 22. It adds to 83. And again, a song came out by the Police in 1983 called Murder by Numbers, where killing's the sport of the elected, and it's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3, a nod to Gematria. Just like there's another song out there called Gematria, the killing name. But again, in this simple code of letters and numbers, murder equals 83. And if you look up the movie poster for the film Murder by Numbers, right in the words, they change the B to an 8 and the E to a 3. So you get the 83 in the words as they're spelled out on the movie poster. And again, we're talking about this same pattern. Today you have a death in the band Fleetwood Mac. The Fleetwood Mac singer, dead at age 79. Now remember, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. The Fleetwood Mac singer is dead at age 79, and the word murder, when you run the alphabetic order the other way, equals 79 as opposed to 83. And Stevie Nicks' name has a gematria of 83, of course, who's the big star of Fleetwood Mac, who still lives. But also, another death in the news today. John Haddle, former NFL star, who's a big Kansas football star, he's dead in his 83rd year of life today on the 83 date numerology. Not only does murder equal 83, but so does football. He's also dead exactly 83 days after the NFL season began on September 8th. And once again, Kansas won the college basketball championship this year, which was the 83rd college basketball tournament all time. And now they lose, the state does, one of its biggest sports stars of all time. And then the sick thing is, if you go back and look at last year's March Madness tournament, you'll see only one winning score in the entire tournament was 83 points. It was scored by Kansas in the opening round over Texas Southern. And guess who Kansas college basketball team just played right before John Haddle's death? They just played Texas Southern, their last game right before his death. So again, very tired pattern of murder by numbers. And again, the fact that that song's by the Police, so they're having this vigil for the murder. And the big headline is that there's a really big police presence for the vigil because they think the killer could be in the crowd, so they're scaring the town even more by having this. And again, if you've been following the story, they said that the police messed up the crime scene, and because they did so much damage to the crime scene, they might never figure out who is responsible for the killing. And again, for people who missed what we initially reported, why you had a Moscow killing on the same day as a Virginia Cavaliers killing, and then both news stories breaking the day of King Charles' birthday. Again, King Charles is the first English monarch of Russian ancestry, like the University of Idaho's in Moscow. And the people who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War were called Cavaliers. So you have deaths at the Virginia Cavaliers and deaths in Moscow. I mean, in your lifetime, how many serial killers or mass killing stories do you remember like this at a college campus? I mean, I can maybe think of a handful. So to have 2 on the same day with clear connections to King Charles. And then again, it was Charles' 74th birthday. If you're new here, 74 is the number that clued me into Gematria being a real thing. Again, you learn about the magic of this number, a lot starts to make sense. Remember, there's a song called Gematria, the Killing Name. In Gematria adds up to 74, English adds up to 74, Occult 74, Masonic 74, Energy 74, the word killing 74. Stevie Nicks is 74 years old right now while she loses her bandmate. The word holiday 74, again, 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents all dead on July 4th. So, anyhow, I am thinking about going up to, the school hasn't been in session, so the campus has been dead, but I am thinking about doing a drive, because I heard that school's going to resume now after the vigil. So I'm thinking about driving up to the University of Idaho this weekend. If you guys want to call in and give me some feedback on that, it's 3 hours each way. It's a little more than 3 hours each way from here, so it'll be about 7 hours of driving. It's manageable. But I am thinking about going up and trying to engage with the students and sharing the knowledge, just like how we've taught at other college campuses. Again, you got a murder mystery and another perfect opportunity to teach the language of gematria and another just, I mean, you teach these kids about 74 in gematria. If they listen, they'll pay attention to the same pattern, how it persists, day after day, week after week, month after month, as we've been documenting. Every week, literally, there's a new 74 example, and it often does have to do with death and killing. But every week for a decade, pretty much teaching the same thing. And that college campus experiencing one of the most recent examples. All right, we missed last week's show. Apologies. Something came up for the holidays. What I want to do is get in a lot of calls. And again, if you would like to phone in tonight, the number is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. Maybe we even got some University of Idaho students out there. But let's take some calls up until we run into the break. Of course, we'll have Rambo after the break. And when he's finished, we'll take calls the rest of the night. And again, if you guys do call in, there's already a number of people on hold. Try to keep your call to 2 minutes. Try to have one great thought, one clear idea, one great question. Again, your own personal number decode. No offense, but nobody really cares about that. I'd rather not have those phone calls. But yeah, again, if you can be efficient with the call, we'll get through a lot of different voices. And first up, Florida. What's going on, Florida?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Zach, what's up? Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask if we could talk about, me going over there and helping you. This month and next month I'm going to be super busy, so I won't be able to go. But February I'll be free, and March and April I'll be free.
Okay.
Basically all of them.
Again, you don't need to keep calling into live shows to ask if you can come to my house to help me. I don't really have anything for you to do right now. So
Okay.
It's not necessary. And again, I mean, you don't need to keep calling into every live show to say, hey, can I come out there and help you? I don't know why you keep doing that.
Okay, well, that's all I wanted to
All
know.
right, appreciate it, man. Have a good night. Okay, let's go out to 409. What's up, 409? 409, you're on. $409. Going once, going twice. Muted. Okay, let's go out to New Jersey. The 201 area code. 201. You're on. Okay. Remember, when you go to you guys, the point is, if you call into the show, to speak. Let's try 515. 515, you're on.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on?
Okay, how's it going? I know you said you don't want to hear no decodes or none of that, but I just have this quick decode I think you would be interested in hearing. No, hold on again, in case other people are having listening problems. I didn't say I don't want to hear your decodes. I said just keep it to 2 minutes, and I don't want to hear your personal decodes. Like somebody will call in and it'll be like, Zach, Okay.
it's the, it's just like, I don't want to hear decodes about yourself. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah,
So Metro Boomin, he posted this video. It was to his album that he's about to release. And in the video, there was like a chaos and there was like blackouts going on. And in that video, there's a fire truck with the number E2 on it, and E is the fifth letter in the alphabet. It's 2, so it's 52. I think May 2nd is the date to look at for like a power outage or the grid going down, because power outage equals 52, grid equals 25, the mirror 52. May 2nd is the 122nd day of the year. Grid down equals 122. Public Answers equals 122. For May 2nd, to Public Enemy's album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, the anniversary is 146 days. Power outage is 146. May 2nd is also the day in history that Osama bin Laden died. Not too long ago, on 11/28, I don't know if you saw when a plane flew into the transmission towers in Maryland. I don't know if you heard about that. Did you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But again, we started with Metro Boomin, and now we're on to another topic. Again, the best call is like when it's on one topic, not we're doing this topic real quick, and then we're switching to this topic.
I was just trying to tie it in, but I'll just quickly end it here real quick. But I was just saying, in that video, he was just like showing the blackouts and there's power outages going on. And not too long ago, a power outage went out. A plane flew into a transmission tower in Maryland. And I was saying that to say because there was I think it's like a 9/11 reference to Janet Napolitano saying the next 9/11 would be the grid going down. And the counting that happened was, it equals to 243, May 2nd, at least 243 days left in the year. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting to see.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Let's go out to Michigan. Michigan, you're on.
Hey, good evening, Zach. Thanks for being on tonight. I have a guest with me, my friend in Napa State Hospital, California. He's been found incompetent, and that's a crime, apparently. And I don't know, I just wanted to get it out on your call. This can happen to any of us. Ronald, you got anything to say to Zach? This is his first time listening to Gematria. I've been telling him about it for quite a while. And anyway, Ron, say hi to Zach.
Hi, Zach. Appreciate the opportunity Dave has allowed me. Secret geometry, I don't know a thing about it, but it fascinates me. How about the words found incompetent? What do those numbers reveal?
I've never decoded the words found incompetent. But I suppose I could look. But again, what we do with the work is just... Again, if there was a pattern of found incompetent in the news, or if the way the news would work is like, say the date new. I looked up what found incompetent was. If it was April 19th, for example, it could be a mainstream headline on that day, found incompetent, because it equals 194. And just to make another point about that, another thing that equals 194 is the Turner Diaries, and of course Timothy McVeigh, who was inspired by the Turner Diaries, supposedly blew up the Oklahoma City building on 19/4. But anyhow, again, the way we use the knowledge is to look at how the media performs its rituals day after day. And for example, why they would have a vigil for murders. On a Wednesday in the middle of the week. It's not like the killing happened on a Wednesday, so why have a vigil at the campus on a Wednesday? Maybe on the anniversary or the same day of the week it happened on. But again, you can see through why things are done the way they are in the media every day with this knowledge. So welcome to the community. I'm glad your friend showed you the work. And I don't know what to say about the found incompetent thing, but it's too bad that happened.
Yeah, this happened on 22nd June, and there were 3 other men that I met in the Hillside Jail facility in Lakeport, California, Lake County. And we were all 63 years and a half in age. If that has any reference.
Zach, April 19th is Patriots Day also, and this man is quite the patriot, and he is definitely one of the most competent men I've ever spoken with, and I've been speaking with him for about a year and a half. Anyway, he's pretty knowledgeable.
All right, well, welcome to the work, and again, thanks for showing it to him, and I appreciate the call, and sorry that happened, and hopefully you win the legal battle. So.
Thank you.
Zach.
All right. Have a good night. Take care. Okay. How you doing, George?
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on, George?
Zach?
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, hi. Okay, I'll think of how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad I made it just in time for the show.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have my computer in front of me, so I don't have the precise date. Perhaps you could look them up if you have time. Okay, are you familiar with Ambrose Joseph Finnegan, Senior and Junior?
Who?
Ambrose Joseph Finnegan, Senior and Junior.
No, but I don't know who they are.
Okay, so Ambrose Finnegan was the maternal grandfather of Joe Biden. Ambrose Jr. was Joe Biden's maternal uncle. Okay, I bring that up because if you look at the death of Ambrose Jr. and Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr., they're very similar. Okay, I don't have the, Ambrose Jr. lived from 1915 to 1944. I don't have the dates in front of me. And Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. lived from 1914 to 1944. They're both 29 years old when they died. They're both pilots. Ambrose Jr. was, I believe, in the Army Air Corps or Air Force, and Kennedy Jr. was in the Navy. So they both, as I said, they're both 29 years old. They both died in 1944. They're both related to future U.S. presidents. One was an uncle, one was a brother. Okay, could you pull up the dates for me?
Ambrose J. Finnegan Jr. was born August 8th, 1914. I got that. On May 14th, 1944, on Israel's birthday, 4 years before Israel was born. Okay.
Okay. So, and they both had Joseph in their name. Now you've talked several times about Joe Biden, about all the family members who were sacrificed for him. His first wife.
Well, okay, here, let's again remind it what matters about May 14th. That date's written 14/5 like 145. In Gematria, Catholic equals 145, and it equals 46. And again, there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament and 145 more chapters. And that's also why Israel was set up by the Jesuits on that day. But again, it looks like a long history of Catholic rituals, and the latest is Joe Biden being put in as number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. And let's not forget what happened to his son at age 46. But okay.
So anyhow, for what it's worth, I mentioned his father, or Joe Biden's maternal grandfather, Ambrose Sr. He went to the University of Santa Clara, where he was a big football star, American football. And as a matter of fact, Biden actually made reference to that in a recent speech last, month or so. So you had Joe Biden, who had all these family members who were sacrificed. You made reference to Bo, his first wife and I believe daughter, almost 50 years ago to the day, or within a couple of weeks. And now I just found out about his uncle who was killed before Joe was even 2 years old. So were they grooming him, Joe Biden, almost 80 years ago to be president?
Like I've always said, these guys are born for the job, so I would say yeah.
Okay, so, and as I said, I actually heard that I got an email from our dear friend Johnny Salucci, and I'd never heard of Ambrose Finnegan before, prior to a couple of weeks ago. So, boy, you had to look how far back, when looking at figures like presidents or prime ministers, how many other family members were sacrificed decades ago, generations ago, so these people could rise to power.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it works. If only they would have taught us this in school.
Okay, so you said, I think I've used up my 2 minutes.
It's okay, George. So you said there's 2 people who died in 44. One is Finnegan, and who's the other?
Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. The
Oh
oldest
yeah,
Kennedy brother.
I've covered his death before. Yeah, okay, I'm familiar with that one.
Okay, so yes, but I think you need to look at the deaths in tandem because they always took place a few months apart. So as I said, they both were killed in 44. They're both 29 years old. They both had Joseph as their names.
And just to remind people about the whole 46 thing, JFK ends up getting killed at age 46. I see that this guy died on his 19th day of his age, Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. Joe Biden would have turned 19 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me think. No, I take that back. Joe Biden would have turned, no, wrong about that. But he dies on his 19th day of his age, and then JFK is killed 19 years later. And people should also know that JFK, he was number 35, but he was the 44th term president. The 44th term, and we're talking about 2 deaths in 44. And again, the words kill and execution equal 44.
Oh, okay. All right, so I just thought I'd share that with you. Well, have a good evening, Zach.
All right, appreciate it, George. Thank you. Great information as always. And just for some more number magic, he dies on August 12th, which is the 224th day of the year. So follow the math. The divisors of 44 sum to 84. The divisors of 84 sum to 224. So all 3 of those numbers have a relationship. And this man dead in 44. Of course, Jesuit is 84. Thus, Society of Jesus is 224. All right, let's go out to Fresno, California, 559. You're on.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up?
I got a few more 201s for you.
Before you even give us any, tomorrow night, Thursday night football, guess how many days it's going to be after the Buffalo mass shooting?
201.
201. Prime time. Okay. All right. What are the new 201s?
So I don't know if you ever covered this before, but the Jesuits, they were born out of the Age of Reformation. The phrase, the Age of Reformation, is 201. Their most beneficial period was post-Reformation. Post-Reformation in reverse is 201. The Monroe Doctrine was made by James Monroe. It was when the European countries were basically planning to suppress all these newer governments in the New World, America, to suppress all these governments that were for the people, by the people. That was called the Secret Treaty of Verone, I think. But to counter that, they heard about it over in the United States, and James Monroe made the Monroe Doctrine, which basically said that they're not to basically communicate with anybody outside of the new Americas. Like, basically only stay within their country. And that was called the Monroe Doctrine.
Right.
Which is 201. And then I noticed this. I was just typing in phrases trying to, see the phrase the devil in disguise is 201. And then I was watching this John Cusack. I was watching this movie called Cell, and it's about cell phones, and there's a signal that goes off that basically turns everybody into zombies. And I mean, that's kind of where we are right now. But in the middle of the movie, they ran into this rich family, and the rich guy kept his son off of phones all his childhood, and he said that cell phones are the devil's intercom. And the devil's intercom is 201.
Huh. Interesting. And it just makes me think of all the 201 coded all over big tech. Very interesting. Okay. Good research. Nice list.
But yeah,
All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Quick commercial break. Thank you, 559.
My hero. That's who I chase. Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, who's your hero? I said, I thought about it. You know who it is? I said, it's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, so are you a hero? And I was like, not even close. No. She said, why? I said, because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing. So to any of us, whatever those things are, whatever it is we look up to, whatever it is we look forward to, and whoever it is we're chasing, to that I say amen. To that I say, all right. To that I say, just keep living, huh?
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? Life is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to ialife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker, and it is Rambo's time to shine. We missed him last week, but here he is. How you doing, Rambo?
Thanks again. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You got the floor.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I've had quite a few requests to decode this event. A number of people asked me about it, and it's the death of Shanquella Robinson. She was an American who was visiting Mexico and was reported dead. It's a pretty big story in the media. And I guess the big red flag where a lot of people wanted me to decode it specifically was because of where she's from. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and a lot of people very correctly suspected that the name of her... Hello?
I don't know what that ding was. You're there.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, there's some weird feedback there. But they suspected, which I feel correctly suspected, that the name of her hometown, Charlotte, had a lot to do with the ritual, because I've been talking about Charlotte. So the title of the decode is The Death of Shanquella Robinson, Destruction of the Sacred Feminine, Charlotte, Isis, and the High Priestess. So yeah, this does appear to have a lot of ritual elements to it. So Shanquella Robinson, she did die under mysterious circumstances. Initially, the report said that she died as a result of alcohol poisoning. She did not. A video surfaced of one of the people she was with, part of her touring party, one of her quote-unquote friends. I guess they're not friends, apparently. Just violently assaulting her, and this was being recorded. So this just looks very ritual. And she wasn't defending herself. She was just being pummeled in a hotel room, the room of the resort. So now they're saying it could be a homicide. Initially they said alcohol poisoning. But overall, it's some kind of ritual. So her date of death was October 29th, 2022. But very significant is the date in the report that she arrived at this resort. It's called the Fundadores Beach Club. That's in San Jose del Cabo. It's a resort town in Mexico. She arrived there on October 28th, 2022. She died the next day. But that date, October 28th, is very significant. As soon as you see October 28th, there's a bunch of things that happened on that date. The Statue of Liberty was dedicated on that day. That's like, quote unquote, like the birthday of the Statue of Liberty. And that's, you know what that is? That's a sacred feminine, kind of a Isis figure. That's part of, you see how I started the decode, it's a picture of Isis. And I actually didn't include that in this decode. I'm just saying as I think of it. It does relate to the Statue of Liberty. A bunch of Bill Gates was born on October 28th. Caitlyn Jenner, October 28th. And Joaquin Phoenix was also born October 28th. I believe the Ark in St. Louis. I think that was also open on October 28th. It's a very significant day. And so that's the day she arrived at San Jose del Cabo. And she was from Charlotte, North Carolina. And Charlotte has been in the news, and I've been focusing on it ever since Queen Elizabeth died. And at her funeral, the focus of the media's attention, despite the entire royal family being there, the overwhelming favorite for the media and photographers was Princess Charlotte. That was at Queen Elizabeth's funeral on September 8th. And Princess Charlotte is named after Queen Charlotte of Great Britain, who was significant to the United States because she was the queen consort at the time that the United States attained independence from Great Britain on July 4, 1776. Charlotte was the queen. I mean, George III was the king, but she was married to George III, and that's how she got the title of queen. So that's why she's so significant to the United States. And the reason her being the queen at the time of the United States independence, like the birth of the United States, you could call it, is because the United States this year just experienced its Pluto return. In astrology, a Pluto return is very significant. Now, no human can have a Pluto return because Pluto, it's more different planet status, like dwarf planet, but regardless, in astrology, Pluto is extremely powerful. And it's the outermost planet, so it has the biggest orbit, and it takes the longest time to orbit the sun. So a Pluto return means that at the time, it's in a birth chart, or an event, the location of the planet Pluto in a specific sign or a specific constellation at a specific degree. When Pluto returns to that sign at that degree, after a full revolution around the sun, that's called a Pluto return, which is really massive in astrology. It's supposed to be a time of immense change, immense activity for the entity for whom the Pluto return is being experienced, and this is the United States. The orbit of Pluto is 248 Earth years. So no human ever experiences their Pluto return, but a country can, like the United States has, and that's a part of the reason that Charlotte is so significant right now. And the whole Anglo-American theme is very significant. It's because the United States is experiencing its Pluto return from its birth, independent from the United Kingdom. And we're just seeing the World Cup, which is the most prestigious event in all the sports, where the United States just happens to have been drawn into the same group. It's 32 teams, but the teams are divided into 8 groups of 4. So the first round, it's just you're playing 3 games in a group of 4. Well, the United States has been drawn into a group with not 1 but 2 teams from Great Britain, England and Wales. It's a 4-team group, so it's England, Wales, United States, all in the same group. That has to do with the Pluto return. That's not a coincidence. This is in the year of the United States Pluto return. That's why that's happening. On my channel, The Truth Codes, I've done, my latest video was on the Anglo-American, British-American theme and ritual symbology, and how that played into the World Cup, where the United States is drawn by sheer coincidence with 2 teams from Britain. Now, I shout out to Ray Shaw. Ray Shaw pointed out that there are 2 other teams that were British colonies, Australia and Canada. They're both part of the Commonwealth, and they were also drawn into the same group. So it's not just, I was just looking at the U.S. group. Well, they've done it with Australia and Canada, and Australia just defied the odds. Huge upset, advanced to the second round. So, yeah, so the World Cup is being used for that. So that's why you see Queen Charlotte in the news. Now, Queen Elizabeth, it's well known, died on September 8th, 2022. Now, September 8th is the anniversary of Queen Charlotte becoming queen consort. That's when she married George III in 1761. It was on September 8th. So Queen Elizabeth dies on the anniversary of Queen Charlotte becoming queen. And as I've reported on a lot, this is a huge allegory, a spider appeared on the coffin of Queen Elizabeth at her funeral. And that seems to be an allusion to the famous protagonist fictional spider, Charlotte, from Charlotte's Web. And that appears to be, it's not official, but it does seem like the spider Charlotte from the book is actually an allusion to Queen Charlotte. And the number 52 is key here. I accidentally put this image twice. But 52 is key because Princess Charlotte, or her birthday is May 2nd or 2nd May, which is 52 and 25, which is very key to the decode. The book Charlotte's Web was published in the year 52. So what a coincidence, Princess Charlotte, born 5'2", and the book was published in 52, and in Gematria, the title of the book, Charlotte's Web, is 52. And also, Major League Baseball just signed a contract with a CBD oil manufacturer called Charlotte's Web. So that's another way Charlotte in the news right now. Charlotte's Web is an official partner of Major League Baseball. Charlotte's Web, the spider in Charlotte's Web is of the genus and species Araneus cavaticus, which comes to 52 in Gematria, which is commonly known as a barn spider. Barn spider is 52. And so Shanquella Robinson's first name, Shanquella, comes to 52. And Shanquella Robinson died at age 25. So 25 is like 2nd May, and a reflection of 52. So from the date of Shanquella Robinson's death, which is October 29th, 2022, to the anniversary of the death of Queen Charlotte, which would be November 17th, 2022. It's 2 weeks and 5 days, like 25. So Shanquella Robinson died at age 25, like 2nd May. In that same time frame, from Shanquella Robinson's death to the anniversary of Queen Charlotte's death is 2 weeks. I'm sorry, it's also 19 days as well. And 19 is Gematria of Queen. So yeah, very much quoted there. And from Queen Elizabeth II's death day of September 8th, 2022, through to and including the date of Shanquella Robinson's death, is a span of 52 days. That's from Queen Elizabeth's death to Shanquella Robinson's death. Including the end date, it's 52 days. So you see the significance of the number 52. And 52 actually ties into the Virgin Mary. Now, September 8th is the nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, according to the Catholic Church. So it's like the Virgin Mary's birthday, September 8th. The earliest recorded account of the birth of the Virgin Mary is not in the canon Bible. Rome canonized the modern Bible, but the texts that Rome did not put into the Bible, they included 4 Gospels, but there are many more Gospels that were not included, such as the Gospel of James, and that is the earliest text that gives an account of the birth of the Virgin Mary, and that account is given in James chapter 5, verse 2, the book of James, which is not in the Bible. It's not canonized. But again, that's a 52. James 5:2 is the earliest recording of the birth of the Virgin Mary. So there you see an association again between the Virgin Mary, September 8th, and the number 52. And the Virgin Mary is a Christian version, which is based off of ancient Egypt. Their depiction of Isis, that was long before. In fact, a lot of the iconography of Christians is taken directly from ancient Egypt. Their depictions of Isis with the Horus, baby Horus in her lap. You have Mary with Jesus in her lap, and that's Christianity borrowing Egyptian iconography. Isis comes to 52. So there's another relation between the Virgin Mary and Isis and the number 52. And that's what Shanquella Robinson appears to have been a representative of. So what this ritual was the destruction of the sacred feminine. Isis represents the sacred feminine. They don't worship the idol. They don't think there's some woman in the sky. Isis is a metaphor. So the sacred feminine is a metaphor. And that's what Isis represents, and that's what Shanquella Robinson represented. And she also represented Queen Charlotte. The sacred feminine is part of the consciousness trinity, which is action, thought, and emotion. So emotion is the feminine, not part of the trinity. And when you destroy the sacred feminine, you're destroying emotion, you're destroying heart. So they won't necessarily, if it's a ritual for evil, they won't necessarily worship an evil entity like Satan or the devil or Moloch, whatever. No, what they'll do is they'll take this principle, the principle of care and love, and they'll destroy it. That's what they do. So they won't. So it's a destruction of the care love principle, which is symbolized by the sacred such as Isis and others, including the Virgin Mary as well. So September 8th being the anniversary of Queen Charlotte marrying George III, which was in 1761. I accidentally put 1861, but it's actually 1761. Now, the spider Charlotte from Charlotte's Web is, it's not official, but I suspect that spider is named after Queen Charlotte. And in the 2006 cinematic adaptation of Charlotte's Web, the voice of the title Spider Charlotte was provided by Julia Roberts. So Julia Roberts is very significant. She represents the Spider Charlotte from the movie. Well, the day that Queen Elizabeth died, this year, September 8th, 2022, there's a movie starring Julia Roberts and George Clooney. It was called Ticket to Paradise. That's the name of the movie. It was released the day it died. And it's a romance comedy. The two stars are Julia Roberts, who's Charlotte, she's the voice of Charlotte, and George Clooney. And again, think of when it's released, September 8th, the day Queen died, which is the anniversary of Queen Charlotte married George III to become Queen Consort on September 8th. Well, on September 8th, 2022, this movie is released with Julia Roberts, who's Charlotte, along with who? George Clooney. So there are too many details to be coincidence. This is a very conscious, what they are doing by releasing that movie then and choosing those two actors is they're reenacting the marriage of Queen Charlotte with George III by choosing that day. And if you look at Gematria of Clooney, 89, like the date 8th September. That's the date on which married. So yeah, the two of them very synced to that in that ritual. So the date on which Queen Elizabeth II died, which is when Ticket to Paradise was first publicly screened in Barcelona. It was also the opening day of the National Football League, which opened in SoFi Stadium, Los Angeles. And that stadium had its official opening on September 8th, on 2020. And the name SoFi is a reference to Sophia. Well, Queen Charlotte's, her birth name is Charlotte Sophia. So Charlotte Sophia was Queen Charlotte, who married on September 8th. Then SoFi Stadium, which is a reference to Sophia, opened on September 8th in 2020. And that's when the National Football League season opened on September 8th, which is the same day that Queen Elizabeth died. So it's a neat little ritual. They are very consistent with the number. Now, according to the New York Post, and that's every media outlet that reports on it, Shanquella Robinson arrived at her destination on October 28th. Now, this is a quote. Shanquella Robinson, 25, of Charlotte, traveled on October 28th with 6 friends to the resort city of San Jose del Cabo, where they stayed at the swanky Fundadores Beach Club. So it is October 28th. And why is that significant? Also because that is Julia Roberts' birthday. And she's Charlotte. She's the voice of Charlotte. And Shanquella Robinson is from Charlotte. So yes, clearly Charlotte is a major part of this ritual. So she arrived at the Fundadores Beach Club. That's where they arrived. And it is on October 20th, which was Julia Roberts' 55th birthday. Well, in Gematria, the name of the place, Fundadores, sums to 55. And Shanquella Robinson, if you take the date of her death from Queen Elizabeth's funeral, and they're all, occulted references to Charlotte with the spider at her funeral. From Queen Elizabeth's funeral, which is September 19th, to Shanquella Robinson's death, is 5 weeks, 5 days for another 55. Again, she arrived at that place, Julia Roberts' 55th birthday, October 28th. And 5 weeks, 5 days after Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. And a major esoteric element to this is the High Priestess. They use tarot as a major part of esoterica. Shanquella Robinson's mother is named Salamandra, it's a very unusual name, but a male version of the name Solomon, which is Solomon. Solomon's a really big name in Freemasonry, in Eastern and Western mysticism. Solomon is just a hugely significant name. A male version of Solomon is Salomon, which comes from Latin. So the name Salamandra is actually a female derivative of the root Solomon. And so Solomon is such a deeply esoterically significant name that I believe that this has to be part of the ritual. The name of her mother is Salamandra. And a lot of what the family is saying, and it's not adding up. Some people looking at the details of it, the family don't look like... there's no questions about her family as well, as long as we're friends. But Salamandra is a reference to Solomon, and the key symbol of Solomon's temple, the signature architectural feature of Solomon's temple. Some people take it literally, and some people say it's figurative. Regardless, it is the twin pillars of Boaz and Jachin. It's a very central to Freemason mysticism, to ancient Eastern, Middle Eastern mysticism as well. And they don't use Boaz, they don't use those terms, but in tarot, Boaz and Jachin are represented in multiple cards, but specifically in the High Priestess card. Now, the figure in the High Priestess between the twin pillars, again, these are the twin pillars of the Temple of Solomon. Between the two pillars is Isis. Isis sits in between the twin pillars in the tarot card, the High Priestess, which I think her mother's name, Salamandra, refers to Solomon, which refers to the twin pillars of Solomon. And she's already an Isis figure, as I've shown. Isis is 52. Her name, Shanquella, is 52, and the significance of 52 and how it connects to Charlotte. Well, I look at Gematria of the High Priestess, and it comes to 195. 195 is like the date, 19th May, which is the birthday of Queen Charlotte. So the High Priestess. Gematria value is the same as the birthday of Queen Charlotte. 190. And the full name of Julia Roberts, Julia Fiona Roberts, comes to 195. like the birthday of Queen Charlotte, and Julia Fiona Roberts voiced Charlotte. I don't really think that the spider was not named after Queen Charlotte. Yeah, it was not official, but it's pretty clear. Charlotte the Spider is named after Queen Charlotte. And so race is a subtext to the whole narrative, because although Queen Charlotte was German, she's Charlotte of Mecklenburg. They also named the county in North Carolina that Charlotte is in is Mecklenburg County. That's also named after Queen Charlotte. She was Charlotte of Mecklenburg in Germany, but she's also believed to have had some African ancestry as well. And in those days, they didn't really. That's not something that the way it's discussed the way it is in modern day. If you've got a little bit of, ancestry from another race, so you still mostly appeared white, and it's just not something they brought up. But in this day and age, it is something that's brought up. And so part of homage to Charlotte being mixed race is the royal family bringing in the mixed race American Meghan Markle. And we know that's homage to Charlotte because the date of the wedding of Meghan Markle to Prince Harry was 19th May, 195, the birthday of Queen Charlotte. They're sending a message by doing that. And again, Julia Fiona Roberts, 195, and the High Priestess, 195. So, yeah, that's what's going into this. And so this is a fact that not many people may be aware of. Well, I don't think hardly I wasn't aware of it. Julia Roberts, actually, so she is part of a race narrative because her parents, Julia Roberts' parents, were in Georgia. She grew up in Georgia. They're from Georgia. They ran an acting school. And in those days, everything was racially segregated, everything. Of course, including an acting school. So it could be, so the exception that Julia Roberts' parents had for their acting school is it was not racially segregated. And so Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta Scott King, they sent their daughter to acting classes at Julia Roberts' parents' acting school in Georgia. So Julia Roberts' parents, they say, fell on some tough financial times at the time that they were giving birth to Julia Roberts. So when Julia Roberts' mother gave birth to her, Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta King paid the hospital bill. So that's an interesting factoid for American history, is that Martin Luther King paid the hospital bill for the birth of Julia Roberts. So, yeah, so that's a little factoid that not many people, that brings in, because the race is a subtext, and that brings in the racial element to this. So, and I think that is why Shanquella Robinson was chosen as the sacred feminine Charlotte symbol. Race is a subtext. Although she appears to have been, the assault was done by part of her group. So yeah, that's the esoteric basis for the murder for Shanquella Robinson. And there'll be a lot more Charlotte-related rituals as well because of the Pluto return.
Sure. The only thing I didn't see you mention is Charlotte equals 51 in Gematria, and she died 51 days after Queen Elizabeth's death. So.
Okay, yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
And then the woman who died, her name Gematria equals 81. She died on an 81 date numerology, like the word rituals 81. And then her name, when you run it the other way, equals 99, just like Queen Elizabeth's birth name equals 99. And again, Philip died at age 99 on the 99th day of the year, at least so we're told. So
yeah, 81 is also, it's a gematria of Venus. Whenever there's a sacred feminine symbol, most narratives that have to do with prominent women, Venus is almost always there. That's the one element that's present in the majority of them. And 81 is Venus. And that's a really significant part of it. They also call it, so in Mexico, they have these laws. It's the kind of uniquely Mexican laws where, like in the United States, it's the equivalent in the United States where you have hate crimes, where you'll get the sentence is more severe if the assault or, if the court determines that the assault was based on the person's race. Then it becomes a hate crime, or it could be sexual orientation. So the United States doesn't have this, but in Mexico they have a version of hate crime called femicide. So if the court in Mexico rules that a female is killed, by an act of misogyny, basically, because she's a female, they call it femicide. So this case in Mexico is being investigated as femicide, which is a very interesting term because it's a very...
We got the commercial break, Rambo. We'll be right back, everybody.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Phony polls, election interference, fake polls, suppression polls. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, we can't let that happen. This is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election, winning all the key locations. The observers have been kept far away, so far that people are using binoculars very far away. Votes have been in by election day, and they were. Votes are coming in after election day. Votes have been in by election day, and they were. Votes are in by election day.
His father voted here twice since he died. Oh, goodness, kind of funny. But there was fraud. One of the things that does involve fraud is not making it possible to inspect. Gee, what happened? Come on, don't be ridiculous. Well, that works good. Biden was going to win by 10%.
Votes have been in by election day, and they were. Votes are coming in after election day. Votes have been in by election day, and they were. Votes are in by election day.
You must unite what has been citizen.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
This is not a valid roll option. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
You have to create the culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. We are joined by Rambo, who just got done with another brilliant presentation. And we did miss you last week, Rambo. Was there anything you wanted to share about the decode you put out last week?
But I want to finish what I was saying about in Mexico they have hate crimes for femicide. They don't have the United States. So the gematria of femicide is 54, which is a Venus number. Venus is 54. Just like Venus is the goddess of love, love is 54. It's 54 shows up in just multiple because it's an allusion to Venus, and that is the one ritual element that shows up most consistently in narratives that involve females, like Venus rules Libra and Taurus. And if you just look at most prominent females or female firsts, it's disproportionately Libras and Tauruses because they're ruled by Venus. So femicide is what it's. Okay, it's a new term. I didn't know there's such a term, but that's what they're investigating for in Mexico. So. I'm gonna. You can go for those who want to see my post from last week. It's press Rambo's Corner, and then they can scroll. It'll be at the bottom of this one. So I was alluding to the United States Pluto return, which this is like so. The United States birthday is July 4th, 1776, and so wherever Pluto was located, which is in Capricorn, in 1776, once Pluto returns to that same location, that's a huge moment in astrology. Pluto, it was demoted to a dwarf planet, but in astrology, Pluto, some would say it's the most powerful planet in astrology.
And again, just for people who forgot, they were talking about it before it happened on February 22nd, how it'll be the first time it's been in that position since the time of the American Revolution, and Putin was in the news saying there needed to be a revolution in his country. And that's why we said, watch, you'll have your Russia-Ukraine invasion on February 22nd, 222, the order out of chaos number. And sure enough, Biden addressed the nation at 2:22 sharp on the date 2/22 as the news broke that Russia had gone into Ukraine, and then Klaus Schwab was out there talking, and then there was the energy crisis in Germany. And again, it's all a numerological, astrological ritual day after day. So we talked a lot about this Pluto's return at the beginning of the year, and it gave us the foresight of why Russia-Ukraine would pop off on that day before it even happened.
Yes, and so so this is the United States Pluto return. So it's the Pluto return of the United States birth, which is why Britain is so significant because it got its independence from Britain. And the significance of Pluto in astrology is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So it makes sense that Queen Elizabeth would die in the year of the Pluto return because who's the king now? It's Charles, and he's a Scorpio. He's ruled by Jupiter, and who's the leader of the United States? Joe Biden, who's also a Scorpio. Very convenient for the Pluto return. And so, I'll give you just, so at the time of the United States birth, you could say the queen was Charlotte, that I just mentioned. So you're going to see a lot of Charlotte. And then I gave you the example, which I talked about the other one, Major League Baseball. It just signed last October a sponsorship deal with Charlotte's Web, which is a CBD oil maker. But apparently, you can't really patent the name Charlotte's Web. So there wasn't a copyright violation, I guess. Because I guess it's just you can't patent the name Charlotte. It's a name. You can't even a web. So I guess they could just use it. But you know why they used it? It's a lot deeper than this. Whoever starts that company, is connected at a high level. So not just anybody could pull that off. It's because of the Pluto return, and Charlotte was the queen at the time of independence. And also some of the things some of the similarities. So I thought there are a lot of Britain-U.S. similarities. There's a lot of, before, a few decodes ago, I talked about how events in Britain and the United States mirror each other, and I thought an example I gave is 2013 in the Super Bowl, you had the unprecedented blackout. That was on a Sunday. That followed the previous Saturday, the day before, there was a power outage blackout in the English Premier League. And that was in a game between Fulham and Manchester United, and the owner of Fulham also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. The owner of Manchester United also owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this is U.S. Britain mirroring. Then here's another one. So the new queen consort, because Charlotte was the queen consort, well, the new queen consort now is Camilla, and that name sounds very similar to Kamala. They have Camilla, we have Kamala, and there's a number 96 that brings them together because Queen Elizabeth died at the age of 96. Well, if you take from Camilla's birthday, which is July 17th, to Kamala's birthday, is 96 days. And that's a queen number. And that's part of how it's coordinated. And the World Cup, which is, just to give an example of the significance of the World Cup, it's every 4 years, it's quadrennial. These are national teams, Typically, the United States doesn't really participate in sports like that because American sports is not really, basketball, baseball, football, they're not really competitive around the world. But soccer is different, It's much more competitive across the world. Just to give an example of its importance, every 4 years in the month during the World Cup, around the world, productivity actually decreases because the attention directed at the World Cup. GDP globally goes down in that month. That's how important it's given. It's the importance that's given. And this year's World Cup in Qatar in the Middle East, it opened on November 20th, which is the birthday of Joe Biden. And as I alluded to earlier, again, in the year of the United States Pluto return, and this big Anglo-American theme is going around, and this draw was made, I think it was made last year, so it was made a while ago, last year. So it's like they knew something's going to be significant in 2022, where we'll need a Britain and America brought together. They know, these things are known ahead of time. I can't say exactly how. They knew Elizabeth would die. That's significant. But so the way they do it is they seeded the top teams in the world. Obviously, don't play each other. The top 8. So there are 32 teams. There are 8 groups of 4, and the top seeds are the top 8 teams in the world. And so England is one of the top 8, and then the others are determined by a draw. And the United States ended up with Wales and England. Wales and England are both from Britain. So yes, so you have 2 British teams and the United States in the same group in the year of the Pluto return after the Queen dies. And I alluded to the spider on Queen Elizabeth's coffin, which is very profound. It's very profound. It's an allegory, that spider. I suspect that was CGI because the spider appeared on a card that Charles had placed on the coffin. It was just convenient. If the spider's anywhere else, you can't see it. It was in the one place on top of that coffin with all the flowers and the flag and the crown, all that stuff. That's the one place that the spider would have been visible. I believe it was CGI, but the important thing is the allegory that they're doing. There's a reason they wanted a spider. I've gone into multiple decodes on the significance of the spider. I'll probably never, in fact, I'm pretty sure I'll never know the full extent of it, but here's part of it. In Gematria, in the Latin cipher, spider has a Gematria of 248. Latin is Agrippa, used to be called Jewish cipher. 248 is the Gematria value of a spider. Well, 248 is the orbital cycle of Pluto. 248 years for Pluto to complete one revolution. We were just talking about the term revolution. You actually see a lot of revolution. China, this revolution, which they rarely stand up to the government. They're doing that in China and across the world, especially these COVID lockdown protests, and Iran. In Iran, this is unprecedented. In Iran, they just got knocked out of the World Cup, and they're cheering in the streets in Iran. They're cheering the national team losing and being eliminated. That's never happened, but they're doing that as a message against the government because the team represents the government. That's how they see it. And the players, the Iran players, this is another thing that is unprecedented. Before each World Cup game, they play the national anthem of each country. The Iran national team did not sing their national anthem. Most people will sing. They'll put their hand on their heart and they'll sing their national anthem as a protest against the government. The Iran players did not sing. They did not. So that's part of revolution. There's a huge revolution against their government.
Now, do you think that actually happened, or do you think it's just stage media for the West?
No, but it's part of the theme that we're seeing, the revolution theme.
I'm guessing that's stage media. I'm guessing it's stage media. Just
what is that?
I'm guessing it's stage media, just like the fake riot they had in Morocco for the World Cup game. So much of the stuff that we see in the news is completely contrived.
Yeah, but if they're doing it for a reason. And they're doing it they're trying to put forth a revolution.
That's what I mean. But we know it's all ritual. So I mean, that's why I just say like Iran's people were cheering against I doubt it. Probably just more propaganda and ritualism, like what we're saying. So.
Yeah, and the ritual is what? It's revolution. And think about what the term revolution means. We just had a Pluto return. It's 248 for Pluto to complete one revolution around the sun. So this is what it's about. This is about the Pluto return. That's what the term revolution is, a double entendre.
This thing about spiders, I don't shop very often, and I probably go into a store looking for clothes maybe once a year, probably not even that. But I went in TJ Maxx the other week, and I noticed like almost all the clothes that they had in the men's section, well, maybe not all, but like a third of them, they had a spider on it, and I'd never seen this brand before, a big spider logo. And I was like, what brand is this? I've never seen this before. And then I noticed Fake Mike Real News was on a live stream, and he was wearing a new shirt with that spider thing. I was like, I wonder if he got that at TJ Maxx. But yeah, you're just making this point about spider, and in the time of this Pluto return, and now TJ Maxx and its men's section has a whole bunch of clothes with a big spider symbol on it. And unlike you're making the point with Charlotte's Web and making a point about in the international headlines about a spider being on her coffin, it makes me wonder. And again, big corporate chain, maybe it's not an accident that all of a sudden there's spiders all over the men's clothing in the TJ Maxx. So.
Yeah, I've been doing several videos on this, and I'll continue to do them because the spider is, it turns out, a profound, and just the fact that it would appear when it did at Elizabeth's funeral. And I said, honestly, I think that was CGI, because where else could you have seen the spider? Unless it was on that card at that time. And you didn't have much time to really see it. It only had that, short amount of time where they carry the coffin, then it goes into the abbey where it was too perfect. I think it was CGI, but the important thing is not that it was CGI, it's that they are presenting an allegory, an image, an esoteric image for a reason. The images have vibrations, everything has vibrations. And so what is this importance of the spider? And we see how it's related to the Pluto return, for one thing, the 248. What are the odds that lines up at the time of, So yeah, there's a lot more to it. And the whole Charlotte thing, now Charlotte's Web is sponsoring Major League Baseball. And one of the characters in Charlotte's Web, besides the spider, was a goose. A goose was a major character, and Oprah Winfrey voiced the goose in Charlotte's Web, where Julia Roberts did the voice of the spider. And that's why it was October 12th is the day that most outlets reported Major League Baseball's deal with Charlotte's Web. That's the day that the goose showed up at the playoff game between the Dodgers and Padres, the day that Charlotte's Web was announced. And the goose is part of Charlotte's Web. And the manager of the Padres, his birthday is October 28th, which is Julia Roberts' birthday. The manager of the Dodgers, his name is Roberts, Dave Roberts. So they have a man named Roberts, another one with Julia Roberts' birthday, and a goose shows up. A goose part of Charlotte's Web on the day that Charlotte's Web is announced as MLB partner. Come on, what are the odds on that line? But these rituals are every detail is important to them. So, okay, so here we have the World Cup ritual where England and the USA and Wales, two British teams and England, are in the same group. And the theme here was the War of 1812. So there were two wars, and there was the Revolutionary War, then the War of 1812. And at the time of both wars, Charlotte was the queen. So Charlotte was the queen at the time of U.S. independence, and Charlotte was still the queen of Britain during the War of 1812 as well. The President of the United States at the time of the War of 1812 was James Madison. And England have a player, it's a 26-man roster. He was like the 26th, he's the last person named to the roster. They have a player named James Madison. And he was brought there for the ritual. While he is a talented player, there's about 5 players. England has a lot of depth. He's a central midfielder. England has a lot of depth at that position, and they really didn't need another central midfielder. And it only makes sense. He was brought there for the ritual because of his name. His name is, the difference is the way he spells his name. He spells his name with 2 D's, the soccer player. The President of the United States was with 1 D, James Madison. James Madison was the president who oversaw the War of 1812. So this is another way of how they're quoting this Anglo-American. Again, what is it based on? The Pluto return.
And just yesterday, the America-Iran game Yeah, again, I talked about it last Friday before the game was played. I said this will be the first time these teams have met in the World Cup in 24 years, and Iran equals 24, and woman equals 24. And again, you're having this protest on behalf of the women in Iran by the USA team. But then who scores the only goal and the winning goal yesterday? Every news media had to make sure that you knew he was 24 years old. CNN story starts off with 20. The first words in the story were 24-year-old Christian. What's his last name? Christian. Yeah, however you say it. But again, it's such mockery. Again, why does it even matter what his age is? Why does it matter what his age is? It shouldn't matter, but everyone has that as the lead detail, his age. And I'd just been pointing out last week the significance of it being 24 years in Iran. And like I pointed out last week, it was going to be 32 weeks after the leader of Iran's birthday that game, and on the day leaving 32 days left in the year when America equals 32. I'm not quite sure why somebody in the community was telling people to bet Iran on the money line. I was like, why is he putting out that information on America Day? Okay, well, anyway, look at what happens to it. If you guys follow me on Patreon, what were the notes I put out for basketball in the morning before the USA-Iran game? It's the 29th. 29's the 10th prime. There were two games that had there were only 3 games in the NBA on that day, but 2 of them had a strong 10 riddle. 29's the 10th prime. Both of those games came through, and then who scores the goal in the USA-Iran game? Number 10 does, and what's the score? 1-0. Again, you look at how everything is rigged, from the news to the NBA to the World Cup. It's the same rituals going on all over. It's number worship. And again, I mean, it just couldn't be any more obvious. And people should be like, why does every story start off with that he's 24 years old? And then, of course, the even more obvious mockery is that we're protesting what Muslims do, and who beats the Muslim team? Christian. I mean, it's just like, God, people got to be brain dead. So, anyway, go ahead, Rambo.
Yeah, those are great. Also, another significance of 24 is this other theme we're seeing globally, which is the revolution theme. Pluto completed a revolution. It completed a cycle. So 24 is a cycle number as far as 24 hours in the day. It represents a daily cycle. So the cycle symbolism is all over the place too. Now this one is super obvious, but only to the very few, and that's very, very few people in the world who know gematria. Where England's first game against Iran finished 6-2. I mean, come on. That was super obvious. The Queen crowned 62 and 26, and one of the goals was scored in the 62nd minute. That was just, I mean, this isn't obvious to most people, but wow, this one they didn't even hold back on this one. And the way the score is 6-1. In soccer, there's no official time. The game ends when the referee decides to end it, and what the referee will do is estimate how much injury time. So there's stoppage time during the game. Like, if the player gets injured, only the referee has it. He'll stop his watch, and he or she, they have 3 female refs, will decide how much time. When the 90 minutes is the regulation time, it's up to the referee. There's no official time. The referee will decide. Well, this game just went on and on. It was 6-1, and then it wasn't until this is 13 minutes after the 90 minutes was finished, 13-6. So you rarely get that much in soccer. You rarely ever get that much injury time. Then he awards Iran a penalty, and it's so obvious what he wanted. They had to get that second one in there. I think there would have been consequences for that referee if he blew the whistle. They want their 62. This is a ritual. Queen is 62, crown is 62, or 26. Royal 26. They wanted their 62. That referee, he would have played the extra 90 minutes if need be. I mean, he had orders. The score is going to be 62. Also, yeah, it was, even though they got the score was ridiculous, but for the War of 1812, the Star-Spangled Banner is a song written by Francis Scott Key about the War of 1812. And they do play the Star-Spangled Banner before the game, like they do with all national anthems. Francis Scott Key comes to 62. And the War of 1812 ended on February 17th. That's the day written 217. Francis Scott Key also is 217 in Gematria. And from the Queen's death to the game, which is November 25th, it was 2 months, 17 days. That's 217. that's the when the War of 1812 ended, 217. So that's the gap between Elizabeth's death to this game, and the gematria of Francis Scott Key, 217. Now, in reverse reduce or reverse Pythagorean, England versus the United States of America is 217, which I was pretty blown away by that one. Again, that's the War of 1812. England versus the United States of America could refer to the War of 1812, and that's when it ended, 217. Wikipedia is saying it ended February 18th, but Encyclopedia Britannica also says that it ended February 17th. So that's pretty much multiple sources say 217, so that's what I go with. And there's an Anglo-American code, a British American code, 114. I could do a whole, which I should do and I will do, on the Anglo-American 114 code. And that's always been around. Like you did the 114 thing on the Boston Red Sox when they won the 114th World Series. Well, the Boston Red Sox owners, Fenway Sports Group, also own Liverpool Football Club of England. So, and they have that connection, and they manage LeBron James. So he also owns a percentage of Liverpool Football Club, and 114 is all over him too. So it is a big, I didn't include that here, but 114 is a big Anglo-American code. And so the name of the President Madison, James Madison, is 114. And Elizabeth died on a day leaving on 104 days left in the year. And the best Anglo-American or British American symbol is Benedict Arnold, because he fought for the Continental Army. He was a general in the Continental Army, fighting in the Revolutionary War. And what he did was he switched and fought for Britain against the troops that he used to command. So there's no other, that's the major British American, Anglo-American symbol is Benedict Arnold, and his birthday is 114. It's a really major. I have multiple examples, but these are just a few. And January 14th is his birthday, 114. And he's the prime example of the Anglo-American symbol. The game was this was a game between the United States and England, was on November 25th, 2022. Now, of course, we all know the significance of 1776. Well, 1776 days before the game was the date 114 that I talked about, January 14th, which is the birthday of Benedict Arnold. It's also the foundation date of the city of Birmingham in England. That's the mother city after which Birmingham, Alabama was named. I did a decode on that. There's a link on top of the article to the two Birminghams, the two kings. There's Martin Luther King and King Charles. Because the cities of Birmingham, England in 2022 hosted the Commonwealth Games. Birmingham, Alabama hosted the World Games in 2022. So there's a lot of that mirroring there with Birmingham. Well, Birmingham, England received its city status on January 14th, 114. And 114, January 14th in 2018, this is 1776 days before the England-US game, was the death of soccer player Cyril Regis, who played most of his career in the city of Birmingham. He played for three teams from the Birmingham area, mostly West Bromwich Albion. He also played for Aston Villa and for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So those three teams are all from the Birmingham area. So he's very much associated with the city of Birmingham. Well, he died on the anniversary of the founding of the city of Birmingham, and he died 1776 days before the United States played England. So he was a sacrifice, clearly, for this game, for the king. And his name is Regis, Cyril Regis. What does Regis mean in Latin? It means king. So yeah, that's what that was about. And so this date, January 14th, it leaves 351 days in the year. Now, 351 is significant. I had a picture in my video. I don't know why I didn't put it up here, but there's an iconic 1988 picture of Michael Jordan when he won the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. He's wearing his all-red Chicago Bulls uniform, and he's flying towards the basket, and in the background, the stadium clock shows the time of day, which was 3:51. It's a very iconic photograph, but so 3:51 is relevant to this decode because it's the 26th triangular number, and 26 is like the score of the England-Iran game, 2-6. Queen 26, Crown and Royal are 26. Queen Elizabeth was born in the year 26. She ascended to the throne on February 6, 26. She was inaugurated on 26, 2nd June. This is like the queen number. So 351, the 26th. And so Michael Jordan, yeah, he does tie into this. And remember the 217s I was talking about. The War of 1812, England versus the United States of America, some said 217. The War of 1812 ended 217. Well, that's Michael Jordan's birthday. He's born February 17th. So he has a lot of ties. I'm actually a lot deeper. It's also through the Star series.
Here's number 2 in the art of persuasion. We went into the commercial again. We'll be right back.
Accurate facts. We call it dealing in truth. Accuracy is very important. Here's why. It builds credibility. Credibility starts to weaken if you mess with the facts, the truth, the correct numbers. Now, everybody will give you room for what we call an unintentional error in dealing in facts. Now, see, if my watch says about 7:28, but if you were to ask me what time is it, and I was to say it's 7:30, you would allow me to be a couple of minutes off, right? If I said it was 7:30, but accurately, really, truthfully, it was 7:28, you would give me that error to just quickly say 7:30, right? You would say, you didn't mean to mess up my life, right? By leading me astray with this erroneous information that it was 7:30 when really it was only 7:28. Now, there are times and occasions when you may have to be precise, and it may be a life and death matter, who knows?
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. We still got Rambo with us, and he's got a few more very interesting thoughts.
Yeah, so Michael Jordan is connected to this because I said the War of 1812 between Britain and the United States ended 217, February 17th. That's Gematria of England versus the United States of America. But that's Michael Jordan's birthday. I'm talking about the 351. I scrolled at the bottom of the article. I actually did include that picture of Michael Jordan dunking. So, yeah, I did include that. And yeah, the time was 351. That's the 26th triangular. This is the queen number. Now, again, so the 217, his birthday, February 17th, which is, he was born on the anniversary of the end of the War of 1812, which was overseen by James Madison. Well, United Center, which is the Chicago Bulls' home stadium, it's on Madison Street. It's on a street named after James Madison, when their biggest star. You know, the Bulls are nothing before Michael Jordan. I mean, they're pretty much a loser franchise. They hadn't done anything. No one thought about him. No, he's the franchise. So it's on Madison Street, and he's born on the anniversary of the end of the War of 1812. Well, part of Madison Street was named Michael Jordan Drive. So that ties Michael Jordan into Madison, the 217 War of 1812. So yeah, he's part of this. And we're talking about the Charlotte significance. Well, Michael Jordan, he grew up in North Carolina, and he currently is the owner of the NBA's Charlotte Hornets of the National Basketball Association. So Michael Jordan ties into the Charlotte theme, this Queen Charlotte theme. He's part of it as well. But interesting about Charlotte and the Charlotte's web book, which is super significant, like probably more than I'll ever realize. But in Charlotte's web, the Spider Charlotte built a web and puts messages in the web to basically influence the way people think. She was doing it for a good reason. It was to save the pig. She was trying to change people's perception of the pig, so it is about mind control. And spider webs are a major symbol in MK Ultra. And so this goes back. This book was written in '52, so this stuff goes way back. But she built her first web, which gained a lot of attention. All these people came to see this messages written in a spider web. Like, it was a miracle. It was destroyed by a hornet. So a hornet in the book flew into Charlotte's first web, and it kind of fought its way out, and it destroyed her web. And this is back in '52 he wrote this. Now we have Charlotte Hornets. Now that is a reference to the book, the story Charlotte's Web. And there's probably getting more to this hornet thing than I'll realize. That's not a coincidence. The hornet is part of Charlotte's Web. It destroyed her web in the book. So, again, and Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets. And that way we're going over Charlotte. She was the queen in 1776, consort. So the England-USA game was November 25th, 2022. Well, if you go back 1776 weeks, it takes you to the anniversary of Armistice Day of 1988. It's 11/11, which is, Armistice Day was the cessation of the ceasefire from World War I was declared on 11/11. Well, 11/11, 1988 was 1776 weeks.
Rambo, are you aware that United Kingdom equals 70?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with 70. It's United Kingdom. That's why the coronavirus, which also equals 70, at first when they had the UK strain, it was 70% more infectious. And that's why the Queen's reign was 70 years. That's the real thing about 70. But I do see where Cyril Regis fits in. But yeah, I had a feeling you were missing the piece with 70 in the United Kingdom. I was like, I'm surprised he doesn't know that one. We've been talking about it for almost 2.5 years now. But yeah, that's where 70 matters with all this UK-related stuff.
See, 70, which I told you here, it's also, this is what I'm focusing on, it's a number related to the star Sirius.
Sure.
Sirius is a sacred star. It's central to Freemason iconography. The reason 70 is central to Sirius is because, so Sirius is a fixed star. I can talk about it here. Like, if you scroll down, you'll see the diagram. You scroll down a little bit. It's a diagram of the sun and Sirius. The sun is fixed, Sirius is fixed. So Earth goes around the sun. I know some flat earthers have challenged me on this, but I don't know how this model works in a flat Earth model. But
it doesn't.
So as Earth goes round the, what is that?
It doesn't.
Yeah. So as Earth goes round the sun, again, the sun is fixed and Sirius is fixed. So Earth reaches a point where it is Sirius cannot be viewed from Earth because the sun is obscuring Sirius. So from Earth's perspective, Earth, you don't feel like you're moving. We don't feel like we're moving. We feel like the objects are moving. So it looks as if Sirius is setting. That's when Earth moves into the position where Sirius is obscured by the sun. It actually looks at Sirius' setting. They call it the heliacal setting of Sirius. That's when Sirius disappears. As Earth eventually moves around the sun to where Sirius is visible again, that was a huge, we're talking about cycles, so that was a huge time in ancient Egypt because their calendar was based on that. The year started in ancient Egypt at the heliacal rising of Sirius, which is the time at which Sirius became visible for the first time on the eastern horizon as Earth moved so that Sirius was visible again. But the period that Sirius is obscured by the sun is 70 days. So 70 is a huge number for Sirius. And the intro music for the Chicago Bulls, which was made famous during the Michael Jordan dynasty era, was the song Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project. It was an instrumental. And now the reason they chose Sirius, it has because of Michael Jordan. If you look at his, I put this in my video. I didn't put that much. It's a lot of detail for an article, but it is in my video. I showed Michael Jordan's birth chart. In astrology, the eastern horizon is it's the most powerful. Rising energy is very powerful. And they use it even in magic and rituals. Sometimes it's the central element. It's more important even than the date, the zodiacal sign. So the rising energy is whatever's on the eastern horizon is coming up. So, there are 12 constellations, there are 12 signs of the zodiac, and in a 24-hour period, all 12 will rise and set. So your rising sign is very important in astrology. Some astrologers consider your rising sign to be your actual zodiac sign. That's important that some people put on your rising sign. That's whatever's on the eastern horizon. That's why to know your rising sign, you have to know your exact time of birth. You can't just know the day because in a 24-hour period, each sign rises and falls. So in the tropical zodiac, which is the western zodiac, it's 2 hours. It's a 2-hour period for each rising sign. Now, Michael Jordan's rising sign is Cancer. Now, the significance of Cancer, Cancer are fixed stars. Sirius is permanently, because it's fixed, in conjunction with Sirius. With Cancer. Sirius is in conjunction with Cancer. Sirius is in Cancer. That's where you get the expression as Sirius as Cancer. That comes from astrology. It's because the star Sirius is permanently fixed in the constellation of Cancer, and it's located approximately at 14 degrees, 14, 15, maybe anywhere from 13 to 15 degrees, but it's pretty much 14 degrees Cancer. That's where Sirius is located. And I demonstrated that in my video. It may sound a little complicated if you're not familiar, but when you see when it's kind of pointed out and you see it's pretty basic. It's 360 degrees, 12 signs, so each sign is 30 degrees. So and there's a little box on the side of each chart where it tells you the location. So even if they don't point out Sirius, just look at Cancer, and just look at the middle of Cancer, like 15, anywhere from 13, 14, 15 degrees of Cancer. That's where Sirius is. Again, Sirius as Cancer. Now, for Michael Jordan, Cancer is his rising sign. He was born on February 17th, 1963 in Brooklyn, New York. The location's important too. At 1:40 p.m. Now, that's significant because Queen Elizabeth was born at 1:40 a.m. Both Michael Jordan and Queen Elizabeth were born at 1:40. And you talk about 70, how 70 is significant. Well, these are two people. Again, 70 it's a serious day. Sirius is invisible from Earth for 70 days a year. Michael Jordan, if you take 70 times 2, it's 140. And Queen Elizabeth and Michael Jordan were both born at 1:40. For Michael Jordan, it's 1:40 p.m. Queen Elizabeth, 1:40 a.m. And when Michael Jordan was born, Sirius was on the eastern horizon. So I don't know exactly what it was, but it's within that 13, 15 degree area. And like in astrology, you say your rising sign. Now, a star or a planet they move. So sometimes you may have a rising sign, but a planet might move onto the eastern horizon as well. So for some people, they actually have a planet in their rising sign as well, and that planet will influence them even more than their ruling planet. For Michael Jordan, it's Sirius. Sirius was on the eastern horizon when Michael Jordan was born at 1:40 p.m. on February 17th, 1963 in Brooklyn, New York. And that's why he is coded with Sirius. That's why Sirius is the song for the Chicago Bulls intro, and the Halakha Rising of Sirius is honored by Freemasonry on July 23rd. Now, the actual Halakha Rising of Sirius, when it becomes visible again, is out in the middle of August in 2022. There was a time in ancient times when it did rise in Egypt, reappear on July 23rd. But why do they choose July 23rd, Freemasons? They choose July 23rd because the Halakha Rising of Sirius is when the new year began in ancient Egypt. They call it the Sothic calendar because in Greek, the Greeks called Sirius Sothis. So the Sothic calendar, which is what ancient Egyptian calendar was based on, it started with the Halakha Rising of Sirius. That's the first day of the new year. Now, if July 23rd or 23rd July is the beginning of the new year, then what's the end of the new year, which is the end of the cycle? It's 22nd July. Why would they choose 22nd July to end a cycle? Because that's the pi number. Pi represents, that's the number that you use to measure circles and cycles. So 22nd July, 227 is pi. That's why that indicates the end of a cycle. And that's why they chose 23rd July as the Halakha Rising of Sirius, because it's the beginning of the cycle. 227 is the end, that's the pi number. 237 is the beginning. And if you take, so what's the modern calendar we use now, what's the end of the cycle? December 31st. Well, look at the gematria of December 31st. 227 is that pi number, the completion of a cycle. So that's why Freemasons use 23rd July as the Halakha Rising of Sirius. Now, on the Halakha Rising of 237, that's when Michael Jordan's father died. That was James Jordan.
And right, and remember, he died at the intersection of the highways, Interstate 74, like his birth name is 74, the number connected to killing, and the intersection of Interstate 95, like Sirius is 95. But just to go back about the point about the Queen being born at 1:40 in the morning, I didn't know that, but that goes with why I predicted she would die on the 140th day of the year, and instead she ended up dying 140 days after her birthday. Queen of England equals 140, so interesting.
Yeah, and you see how Michael Jordan is so tied in. He's very tied in. He's also born at 140, and that's half of 70 times 2. Again, and 70 is, it's based on Sirius, and so one thing I include, Sirius is the dog star. That is why the dog has become a symbol of British, mostly queens for some reason. I don't think the king does much, but the queens more than anything. And I think that's because Sirius is considered primarily the star of ISIS. I was just saying how the Shanquella Robinson, she's an ISIS figure. It was considered the star of ISIS, and so Queen Elizabeth has the corgis. And in fact, I showed an image there. This is off of Wikipedia for her platinum jubilee. This is this year, this summer on June 4th. They use drones with lights on them, to put a giant corgi in the sky. Now, people say, oh, that's Queen Elizabeth, she loves corgis and stuff. It's a Sirius ritual. Sirius is the dog star. And they venerate, and this goes, the royal family considers themselves to be descendants of, I guess, every royalty. I mean, they're delusional. It's delusion of grandeur. Like any great civilization in the past, they'll say, yeah, we're connected. None of any DNA evidence. They believe that they are connected to pharaohs. I think they actually believe they might be reincarnations of pharaohs. That's why they're so connected. And also Freemasonry, Western esotericism really draws a lot from ancient Egypt. And that's what that dog in the sky is. It's not Elizabeth. Okay, it may have two meanings. But the main reason is not that she had a corgi and she loves corgis. Also, if you look at the shape, the way they connect the stars to make it the constellation of Canis Majoris, which means greater dog, that Sirius is in, it kind of has it looks like a short dog with a long body. And the corgi has more of a body shape that suits the constellation of Canis Majoris. And I think that's why Elizabeth chose a corgi. Because the corgis kind of look like the constellation, the way the constellation is shaped. But yeah, so the significance, so what I was focusing on the number 70 was always the significance to Sirius. And so Cyril Regis is 70. So the game between the United States and Britain was 1776 weeks after the 1988 Armistice Day. And that was, and 1980 Armistice Day was the 70th anniversary of Armistice Day. So they brought in that number 70, which, it is very much related. Also, you talk about how Michael Jordan's father died on, what do you say was 74th Street or 47th Street? That's also July 4th and 4th of July. Now, the alignment was different. Oh yeah, that's when Sirius is, when Earth is in line with the Sun and Sirius. That's actually called an opposition. That means that Earth and Sirius are in opposition with the Sun in the middle. That happens on July 4th. That's the reason they chose July 4th. And you can see how the British royal family venerates Sirius. So who do you think chose July 4th, 1776? Do you think the United States, they were victorious? Now they're in charge. They can call the shots, right? No. I mean, clearly when you see how the British royal family has always venerated Sirius, Charlotte was always pictured with her dog. She always had a dog. Somebody corrected me. They said I didn't know what breed it was. It's a Pomeranian. Queen Charlotte had a Pomeranian. Why did she have a Pomeranian? It's a Sirius symbol. The dog, the symbol of the dog star. So they got independent from Britain. We already know that she venerates Sirius because she always has her Pomeranians with her, the dog star. Then they pick an Independence Day when Earth is directly in opposition with Sirius. So you have Earth, the Sun, and Sirius in a direct line. So who determined that? It's the British royal family who determined that. And the United States, George Washington, the founding fathers, they were Freemasons, which is developed, it's an offshoot of the York Rite Freemasonry from England. The Freemasonry practice in the United States originated 1717 in London. And that's who determined Independence Day, July 4th, based on the location of Sirius, the dog star. And that's why 70 is so significant. So Michael Jordan died his father died on the date of the heliacal rising of Sirius. And that's the, so that's the significance of the 70th anniversary of Armistice Day, which is 76 weeks from the USA game with England. And I talked about
Rambo, does December 19th have anything to do with Sirius? December 19th.
Well, around the time of December 19th, Sirius is drawing closer. Earth is drawing closer to Sirius. So as Earth moves around the sun, it reaches a point where it's at its closest to Sirius. Like if you see the image I gave there, where Earth is to the left, see that's when Sirius is invisible. But when Earth moves, where it's to the right side of that, there's that blue dot to the right. That happens on January 1st. And so December 19th, Sirius is it's entering into its closest location to Earth. So on December 19th, it's a time when Earth is almost at its closest point to Sirius. So and that's why January 1st was chosen for the New Year, because people are saying, well, the New Year used to start in spring. When the sun comes, that made sense. At spring, when the sun returns, the year begins. And no, it changed. I guess my Jesuits who did it to January 1st. Why did they pick January 1st? Because that is when Earth is closest to Sirius. It's all based on Sirius. Sirius it's more than just a ball of gas.
Okay. Well, because I just went back and looked at what day Boris Johnson announced the 70% more infectious UK strain. It was December 19th. So.
Yeah, so it's not in perfect alignment, but it's approaching. So that would be called a conjunction. When you have the sun and then Earth and Sirius next to each other at that time, you'd say that there's an Earth-Sirius conjunction. When Earth is on the other side of the sun, and that's called an Earth-Sirius opposition. December 19th, it's around the time when Earth is at its closest to Sirius. I don't think they always choose. I won't mention January 1st, but I talked about Meghan Markle as well earlier. This is Anglo-American theme. She's a major part of the Anglo-American theme. She's American, and she's in the royal family, and a big part of her imagery is the fact that she's mixed race, and that's a reference to Queen Charlotte, who's said to have been mixed race. Like in history, that wasn't something they talked about before, and something we talk about now in modern times. So that's something that's been talked about. Well, the royal family conscious of this. That's what Meghan Markle represents. She represents Charlotte, and we know that because of, I talked about in my last decode, the day that they had their wedding. That a separate wedding. You had a private one and then the one in the public. That was on May 19th, which is the birthday of Queen Charlotte. That Meghan Markle marrying Harry on Queen Charlotte's birthday. And it's why, because she's mixed race. And Bridgerton, the Netflix, very popular Netflix series, where Queen Charlotte was so popular in Bridgerton that starting in 2023, Netflix is going to have a separate miniseries just based on Queen Charlotte. And the Queen Charlotte character is mixed race. And her name is Golda Rochevelle. And I've done several decodes on that. I didn't include that here, but if you look at the Gematria, which is pretty astounded by this one, Gematria of Golda Rochevelle and Queen Charlotte, it's a Grand Slam match in all four ciphers. Like, what are the odds of that? And again, she was born in the year 70, but that's a serious number. And what is Charlotte associated with? The Pomeranian dog. That's the dog star. That's serious. And so Golda Rochevelle, who's going to play, she's already played Queen Charlotte, but she's going to have her own miniseries on Netflix. It's called Charlotte, a Bridgerton Story. So I'm saying Charlotte is really, it's going to be a major theme here. On so many levels, they're really focusing on Queen Charlotte. Like, her significance is extremely profound. You're going to see a lot more of it. And that was the basis for the Shanquella Robinson murder, was based on the Charlotte narrative. So Golda Rochevelle, who's going to play Queen Charlotte, was born on January 1st. And the significance of January 1st, that is when Earth is in conjunction with Sirius, and Earth is at its closest with the star Sirius. And she just happens to have been born in the year 70, which is a serious number. So on multiple levels, like, she's the perfect person. I don't even know how they line all this up. Unless they lie about her age or her birthday, and they had to manipulate this. There's another way she lines up. If you take her birthday, January 1st, it was 19 weeks, 5 days before Queen Charlotte's birthday, which is 1905, 9th May. Golda Rochevelle's birthday is 19 weeks, 5 days before Charlotte's birthday, which was 1905, which is pretty amazing. And Queen Charlotte, 70, just like Golda Rochevelle is 70. She was born in the year 70. Again, it's about that dog, that Pomeranian, the dog star. And Meghan Markle comes to 237, the Latin cipher. 237 is like 23rd July, which is the day that Freemasons honor the heliacal rising of Sirius. I said why they use 237, because 227 is the pi number, which indicates the end of the cycle. 237 is the beginning of the Sothic year, when Sirius rises. So Meghan Markle is 237. And there's that picture of Michael Jordan, very iconic, with the 351 in the background. Now, 351 in the 24-hour clock is 15:51. It was 3:51 in the afternoon, which is 15:51. The head coach of the United States national soccer team is Greg Berhalter. His full name is Greg Matthew Berhalter, which in the Latin cipher used to be called Jewish, of the Gematria. It's a Latin Agrippa cipher. Greg Matthew Berhalter is 1551. That's like the 351 in the background for Michael Jordan, who's the Sirius symbol. And again, January 14th, 114, that's the birthday of Benedict Arnold, the ultimate Anglo-American symbol. That leaves Cyril Regis died on that day, 114, January 14th. That leaves 351 days in the year. So 354 on the clock, it's 1551. And that's the Gematria of Greg Matthew Berhalter. That's the head coach of the U.S. national team, who lives in Chicago. He's from Chicago, but that's where he lives now. There's a Michael Jordan connection. Also, his birthday, he's born August 1st. So anyone born in the beginning of August, like last week of July, beginning of August, those can be symbols for the heliacal rising of Sirius. And his birthday is part of it too. And so the significance with Sirius for the World Cup, the World Cup final is on December 12th, and the rest of the world, the United States says December 12th. The rest of the world says, 18th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
December 18th. Right, so the World Cup, the rest of the world says 18th December. That's 1/8/12. That's 1812. We're talking about the War of 1812, and the World Cup final is on 1812. And England has the manager. The player, James Madison, who's I don't know why James Madison being included in the England team because he was injured.
We got another commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
And so I just want to make sure I understand you correctly. So you said you're alleging that you heard or that you witnessed ballots being put in the machine, run through, counted, and then put through again?
That blowback is off-site over 100,000. That blowback, what do you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it? Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0, there's 0. Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0. These are just rescanning, counting votes 9 to 10 times. They were running these ballots through countless times. Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%. There was illegal activity going on there.
What you said today is the truth.
I wrote a written affidavit.
What you said today is the truth.
Yes, it's 100% true. I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you? That blowback is off-site over 100,000. That blowback, what do you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it? Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0, there's 0. Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0, there's 0. They just found my resume and called me and said, do you want to work the election? These Democrats took every avenue possible to commit fraud in this election.
Can you put a number to it?
Countless times, numerous times, 9 to 10 times, thousands of times, at least 30,000, over 100,000. What I saw was over 20 counts of fraud taking place in front of my face. And this isn't counting, the ballots that are found in rivers, the ballots found under rocks, the ballots, that blowback is off-site over 100,000. That blowback, what do you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it? Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0, there's 0. Why don't you look at the registered voters? 0, 0, there's 0.
What the fuck?
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
Conditional range. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, and Rambo is still here. But Rambo, we probably should wrap it up because there are a lot of people on hold. So if you just want to close us out tonight, again, you guys make sure you're subscribed to his channel at YouTube, The Truth Codes. But any last thoughts? Now would be the perfect time.
Yeah, I just like to say that tomorrow I'll actually be appearing on another platform. I have a link to this at the bottom of my Shanquella Robinson post. And the format is a little different. It's actually it's Zoom, but anyone can join. And I actually left a link if people want to join. Basically, I'm actually co-hosting a show with Buffy Leanne, and we are discussing Plato's Cave, the allegory of Plato's Cave, which that's very central to what we discuss. The central premise of the truth community is you're seeing past, illusion, and what is portrayed as reality is not, and that's what the allegory of Plato's Cave is about, and we discuss that. And what we do is we discuss it for 10 minutes, and then anyone who joins can just participate in. It's like a Zoom call, and there's a link there. So it's not like going to a live stream. It's like where you actually participate. It's free. You don't pay for it. And I left a link to that, and it's at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So if anyone's interested in seeing that, they can go there. And I left again information for that at the bottom of my Shanquella Robinson post.
Very cool. And again, for anyone who wants to participate, just go to GematriaEffectNews and then go to Rambo's Corner section. It'll be his latest post at the very bottom of it. So, all right.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Rambo. Look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks again for having me.
Of course. Have a good night, friend. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
you too. Take care.
All right. Let's go out to 803, South Carolina.
Hello?
Hello.
Is that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, I was just calling. That article you were going over, I think the LA Times article about the Jews and who's running Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I think you overlooked something in the article. Let's see. I think it was. Can you pull it up?
It's
Am I
up.
pulling it up?
It's up.
Go to where the paragraph it says so.
It says so.
I've taken it upon myself to convince Americans that Jews run Hollywood. Go to where it says from the people who brought you the Bible.
Right.
Yeah, what they mean by that is it's sort of like saying it has something to do with the creation of the Bible, but technically they're not really. To tell you the truth, there's no such thing as a race of Jews. These people are like the Greeks and the Romans wrote the Bible. The Greeks using they're using that moniker to hide their history. Do you know the YouTuber The Real Merkaba?
I'm familiar with the channel. Yeah.
Yeah, he was explaining how the ancient Greeks created the Septuagint, or the original Bible, after conquering Persia and Egypt, and how they used Hellenization, and then after that Rome continued Hellenization, and then they helped. I don't know if it got help to create the New Testament from the Greeks, but you can see right here, they just showing you that they secretly created the Bible, telling you right there. And plus, if you look at, have you heard of the book Hebrew is Greek?
Hebrew is Greek. I actually have not. Let me look that up. Hebrew is Greek. Okay.
It's a book that's out of print, and it proves that the Hebrew language is nothing but camouflage Greek. You should search that book because it's out of print. It was like $1,500. It's showing you the people that call themselves Jews are actually like Greeks or Romans. So they started using this moniker to divide people, and I mean it's not a race, it's a creed. It just used this is like a smoke screen to divide people. So yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. I've heard somebody say that before, that Hebrew actually comes from Greek. I'll look more into this book. So interesting information.
Okay, and then the ancient Greeks also had a secret society. I think it was called the Eleusinian Mysteries. Is ELEUSINIAN Mysteries. It's like the Eleusinian Mystery. You should look that up too.
Okay. All right.
On the last thing, I think you had I think you said like your blog post got deleted, because like if you go to the Google search, predefined truth, New World Order, pledge to Jews. I mean, if you search that and try to click on the I didn't make the first article, I don't think you'll be able to pull it up.
It's because it got deleted. Yeah, they've deleted a number of posts from the site, so that's the latest deletion.
I think there's a way you could. I think in one of your videos you pull up the posts. I don't know if it's one of your videos. It's only anti-Semites and conspiracy theories don't support Ukraine. I think if you go, I think it's from the 2 hour, 6 minute, 30 second mark to the 2 hour, 14 minute, 15 second mark. I think that's where you talk about that post. So if you wanted to, I guess, redo that on your new GematriaEffectNews site, you could.
I think I'm actually going to call the ADL and ask why they're having posts like that deleted. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. All right, great research. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, have a good night.
You have a good day.
All right, great research. Let's go out to 347. What's going on, 347?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up, man?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna make it quick. I know you got a lot of people on hold. I just pulled up CNN. That says Shaniqua Robinson death is being investigated as a femicide. Have you ever heard that word before? Femicide?
I haven't.
Could you put it in the calculation, see what it come up to? This is my first time seeing this word.
Well, here, let's look up the definition of it first. Let's see what this word means. Femicide. What is considered femicide? The most extreme form of gender-based violence. Okay. So a new word for the new times. Okay, a femicide.
I never heard of this word before, Zach.
I haven't either.
I just looked at this article on CNN just now while you came to me.
Yeah, I think they've invented a new word.
This word didn't exist?
So look at that, 54 in the most simple cipher, like Jesuit order, and then it's got the 45 like ritual.
So why do you think they will come with this new word, femicide?
Just more divisive crap, and again, it's just like Cable 54 and they live, giving us new words. So.
All right, I really have much. I just saw that caught my eye. I'm gonna let you get some more callers.
All right, but yeah, good one. I never heard of this word before either. It was probably invented 2 days ago. It's when the first headline about it was.
Okay, Zach.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay. You too.
Femicide, word of the night. Let's go out to Florida. What's going on, Florida? 813.
Hey, Zach. Thanks so much for taking my call, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Doing all right, thank
you. Appreciate it, sir. Yeah. Hey, man, you know, what really touches me is sometimes when you get on here and you start an article that you read, whether it's from the Weekly Reader at the 5th grade or you're a 42-year-old man reading the newspaper, and it always says a 23-year-old man dies of X, Y, Z, and it kind of goes on from there. And that really set the tone for me to understand that there's highlighted elements within an article that we read that tell a story. And with that said, that everyone's released in Pleasure Island here, and that the punishment fits the crime. And where I'm going to go with this diatribe, I guess, is that these celebrity deaths, the manner in which these celebrity deaths occur, speak to us in another nature, not only in the number of death, as you say, like 23, but beyond that. So, for instance, Robin Williams dies by hanging, or David Carradine by autoerotic asphyxiation, or Whitney Houston, her daughter, or even Aaron Carter dies in the bathtub. And then even recently I saw an article, a Florida doctor died in a ditch. And so many times I've heard, sexual miscreants being told by people of authority, watch out, they'll find you in a ditch. And so is the symbolism or the manner in which these ritual deaths occur, are they leading us in these articles to showcase the sins or otherwise lifestyle of these celebrities? And if so, is that not a symbolization in self, that when they sign the deal with these darkness, the devil, whatever you want to call it, that as these ritual deaths occur, they are utilized in time, and that unknowingly they're signed on to then support the collective consciousness or the agenda's mission or message or whatever it is that occurs as this plays out. Because it's all playing out in real time, and they're very good at manipulating when these events occur. But the main central message in question is that not only do I agree with you about when they lead an article with the date 23, 49, whatever the number is of the individual's death, but the manner in which they died, that's also very symbolic and telling of another part of the story. Okay.
Yeah. So the question you want to know is, are they trying to influence behavior?
Right. Yeah. Right. So when you lead off, when you say the number, when they lead off the article and there's a number, who cares about the date? The age of the person that dies. I agree with you 100%. Right there, that's a red flag, a highlight in the article. But the second part, and there's many parts in the article, as you say, cross streets, whatnot. But the manner in which they die, is that not a telling of their own so-called lifestyle or sins? If these are ritualized murders, someone's carrying them out, right? And so then are they paying the price for the things that they've done, aka wrong? Why is it that it occurs that way? And why, again, like Whitney Houston and her daughter, they both died in the same manner. Very suspicious in my mind.
Indeed.
And many other celebrities in the way that they die. And that's something that should be brought to maybe identifying further, because the riddle only gets deeper. It's not just one fold, right, on the day or time, but maybe also the manner. And so many other movies, so much literature does the same thing too, right? They showcase these things in the way they die. Romeo and Juliet, for instance, they describe the manner of death so that it is poignant, so that it brings to point something else, another greater message. And I think they do the same thing and carry out the same thing time and time again in these celebrities' ritual death, because they've signed on to become play actors. They've signed on to become the stage of the new world. And here we go, right? And you pick up on that, and I think that's brilliant on your part, and something I think, again, I've seen but never experienced or listened to someone else say when, they lead off an article with a number of the age of the individual that died, like you say, how does that matter? And you brought good light to that, but there's also deeper level meanings, right? And so I guess I was questioning the fact of the manner of death is the central focus of my question.
Well, yeah, sometimes the manner of death fits in with the ritual. I don't have a great answer to your question, though, because again, I don't know everything. What I focus on is just why the numerical ritual takes place on the day it does. We can always identify that, but sometimes the cause of death, seems like Chris Cornell. They said he died from hanging, and you know, he alluded to such things in some of his music, but it's not always that clear. And maybe if you understood all these celebrities as, you know, like I know a little bit about Chris Cornell because I know his music from Soundgarden, but and then, you know, you had Chester Bennington end up dying on Chris Cornell's birthday, also from a hanging, which happened to be the 201st day that year. And again, his death, Chris Cornell, was right before the Great American Solar Eclipse, as they called it. And, you know, one of his most famous songs is Black Hole Sun, which also equals 201. But yeah, I don't have a great answer to your question. In some cases, it does seem, the manner of death does seem to matter, and in other cases, I mean, a lot of times it just says cause of death unknown, and we never even really get a real clear report. I mean, almost every time one of these celebrities die, the cause of death is initially unknown, and then maybe sometimes it's weeks later, sometimes it's months later, they give us some cause of death, and then the gematria of that cause of death fits in with the exact number we talked about the day they died. But I'm going to let a few more people get in because we are already running out of show, and there's a lot of people on hold, so thank you. Okay, let's go out to New Jersey. What's going on, New Jersey? 201. All right, this person called in earlier and just took up line, probably a troll. Let's go out to 509. What's up, 509?
Hey, Zach, Randy in Spokane.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I emailed you. Did you get it? On the Fox News link on the Idaho murders from this morning?
I did. I went to your article, and I know you said 38 and 83 all over it. And then you know, the one thing that stood out to me about the article you sent me is it said they were killed between 3 and 4 a.m. And of course, murder also equals 34. But
exactly.
What was the 38 and 83 you saw in the article?
Well, first I want to show how nobody knows really what happened except for the person or people that did it, obviously. So whether it's real or not, or if it's how we've been told, we don't know. But it's so obvious, like with Fox News, that they're making this work for them to get the numbers they want. Because if you look at the ad, it starts right off where it says 5 cars were towed away, right? 5 cars is 83, 38, 133, and 52. I sent you a picture of the little breakdown, too, from GematriaEffectNews.
Oh, I missed that part.
In a separate email.
Oh, in a separate email.
Yeah, no, pull that up, because that'll make sense to you. I mean, when you started this off, the show with 38, 83, I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, that's interesting. I know Moscow, Idaho abbreviated is 38, and I started thinking and looking, and this ad, or the Fox News story popped up, and seriously, 5 cars is 83, 38, 133, and 52, but it wasn't 5 cars, because when you go down a little lower, it says 5 cars again, go down a little lower, and it says 4 cars, and you can see the parking spots, okay? The other thing that's weird about this, they made a big point to say that a Range Rover is, it's 123, 60, 147, and 57. But again, with 5 cars, you get your 83 and 38. 4 cars gives you 101, 38. Moscow, Idaho, 101, 38, and 115, which is a trifecta, I guess, with 4 cars, which is really interesting. The address was 1122. King Road, which is kind of weird. That breaks down to, what's that?
And again, it's all synced up with Charles, the king. But yeah, JFK as well. So 1122.
Exactly. And it's so bizarre. Do you recall when this first came out, they spelled the last name Goncalves with a capital G and a capital C? I thought, that's kind of weird, and I started looking at it, and like for the first week or so, if you go back, you'll find that it's a 73, okay? And with their last name, too, you get a 35 and a 46. But what's so weird about this, I didn't see a 201, a 56, a 70, and I'm just wondering who's behind this one. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. And if you go up to the top, the tab that says University of Idaho Students, pretty bizarre. 342, 117, 333, and 144. And Fox News made this big deal. the 17 days ago was November 13th, and we know kill 17. It's just, but do you see where they say 5 cars and then it went to 4 cars and the parking spot?
I do see it.
It's all to make it work for them, for their numbers, for their story. So regardless of what happened, no matter what we're being fed is definitely, by a code, AI or something. I don't know who's writing the script.
Well, they put out some really dumb details in the story. Like one of the days, the detail they brought up was that the blood leaked through the side of the house. It's like, okay. I mean, what, did they murder him right next to where there's a hole in the house? They said the blood leaked through the siding. It's physically impossible for blood to leak through the siding of a house. So yeah, I mean my whole eyebrows.
The whole thing is corny.
What is it?
I said the whole thing is corny. When you look at the last names again, Goncastle's one, and then Chapman. He's 51, 33, 111, and 30. And keep in mind, Range Rover's 1, 2, 3. To me, that ties in with a conspiracy. Conway, Washington, that's weird. 105, 33, 111, and 39. It's just too weird without the normal suspects, like your 201, 56. And to me, the 5 cars to the 4 cars, which is what it really was, and the fact that it's not the normal numbers that we see, is just intriguing.
Yeah, I just went to its Wikipedia page to see if that date, November 13th, would be interesting to the history of the campus. It is, because October 3rd is the day that the campus was established in history, and that means November 13th is 41 days later, and King equals 41. King Road, all synced up with Charles.
Yeah, man. I mean, King Road standalone is 7943, 137, and 47, everyone's favorite. So, yeah, it couldn't have been written any more, to me, to be obvious, but I don't know, and I want to be careful saying that, only because if for some reason, this stuff happened the way we're being told, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Well, the way we're being told is nobody knows what happened and the police destroyed the crime scene. So it sounds like the authorities are responsible, which we already know is obviously the case because this is a huge ritual connecting from the University of Virginia to Idaho in tribute to King Charles. I mean, this is like a New World Order ritual hitting a small Idaho town.
Exactly. You know what's weird too? Brad Little, the governor, he's 33rd governor, by the way. But if you type into the Gematriator, I don't have it up right now, but Bradley, middle initial J, last name Little. It's got some pretty unique numbers too. I think it's like 155.7.223, and but I'm like, So, I mean, it's all connected, and obviously. Anyhow, man, thanks so much. If you're going that direction down the Pullman Highway, you'll be like, I'm 8 miles from 195. Give me a text, let me know on Saturday.
Maybe you want to come out, yeah. Maybe it would be nice to have
fine.
a cameraman. I'd actually like to go into the police station and get there. Well, it's annoying dealing with the authorities. I mean, but it's just so obvious that it's the authorities that did this. And it's not like there's some killer out there. Like today they're speculating it's probably a student. It's like, well, if it's a student, he's connected to this New World Order. His dad's part of this. I mean, but it's just maddening knowing what's going on. I mean, and people watching Fox News and thinking that's the real news network. Why wouldn't they bring us on? We had the whole thing solved weeks ago. I mean, we don't know exactly who the killer is, but we can tell you exactly why Virginia and Idaho college students are dead in the news on the same day. So,
yeah, hey, another detail that one of the girls' family members made a real point of is that the 2 girls arrived at 1:56 a.m. separately. The other 2 got home at 1:45, and they said it several times, to make that point as well.
Sure.
So, I'm just saying, if this was the Stone Ages, we'd be throwing stones. So.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, I might very well go there this weekend, and it would probably be on Sunday. Or maybe I'll do it a different day. Well, I'll figure... Actually, what would be the best day to go to a college campus? Probably Friday. I'll see if I can get everything I need done by Saturday, done tomorrow, so I have Friday freed up. Maybe I'll go out there Friday. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll... if I'm available or if I can, just let me know, 24 hours or whatever. Anyhow, dude, I'm taking up time. This is the conversation. So.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Commercial break.
Life is worthwhile if you stay. You gotta learn to hang in there. You gotta learn to stay from spring till fall. Many people plant in the spring and leave in the summer. They're gone. First hot day. I thought sure John had lasted a month. Said, where is he? I don't know. Somebody said boo, and he quit. Where is he? I don't know. But see, to win, you gotta learn to stay. Just because you're behind in the first quarter, you can't leave. You gotta learn to stay and hang in there. Guy builds a foundation. And then he walks off, wanders away, and builds another foundation. He never stays. He puts up the walls and puts on the roof. You gotta learn to stay, hang in there.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Travis Cook, America's Evil Genius, here to invite you to join us every Tuesday afternoon here on Truth Frequency Radio. No, on our show you will not see a bunch of three-piece suits or a cocktail party, and you certainly won't see a bunch of inside the Beltway banter. But you will see eye-gouging, crotch-kicking, no-holds-barred political discussion, the likes of which you won't see anywhere else in media. America's Evil Genius. We come to you every Tuesday from the outskirts of war-torn St. Louis, Missouri, where there's always a good race rider sex scandal just around the corner. Join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and noon on the left coast right here on TFRLive.com. America's Evil Genius, Travis Cook, on TruthFrequencyRadio.com.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny, that is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We got 30 minutes of show. We're taking your calls for the rest of it. And next up is Memphis. What's up, 901?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
How you doing?
Good, doing good. Okay, so I just heard another 19 story in the news. I haven't had time to check it out, though. But, you know, I was having some trouble at work, and I had an argument with my employer. I was just pissed that they're constantly taking like privileges away, I guess, the 50% off and everything. And basically, I'm getting to the point of the taxes. Apparently, he's going to take off, like taking out my taxes. So I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, that's what we got to do, man. Using cash is important, but if they wanted to get rid of cash, they could get rid of cash. I think we have until 2025 to get ourselves, ready. I mean, they have other, psyops going on, but did you hear about the SPARS pandemic in 2025?
I've been talking about SPARS for, I don't know, since they did the simulation a long time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. But anyways, I've been trying to get people to really think about the fact that most of us are not really adults, man. We don't know how to take care of ourselves like a bird does, So in the next, 3 months, I plan on learning how to be a mechanic, and then next 3 months after that, learning another skill. I mean, because what are we going to do if the government shuts down all the grocery stores and we're not allowed to go to the grocery store? We really got to learn how to take care of our own needs. We're not going to be able to continuously pay for everything. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess those are thoughts I'll leave with you guys. But, if there's a will, there's a way. And, I'm determined to stop supporting evil government and religion. They're already threatening us. So what else more are they going to do to us? They're already hurting us. Like, who gives a fuck if they try and come and take me away? It's not going to fucking happen. We are free human beings if we choose to be.
Indeed. Yeah, you're putting out ideas that I've been saying for a long time. If we all had controlled our food supply and we all said middle fingers to the government, there wouldn't be that much they could do about it if we were all organized and prepared to defend ourselves. Right. So I suppose they could rain down napalm on the sky, but I'd rather take it there than keep being their bitch, which is essentially what we're all doing as a collective society right now.
I know, right?
So, anyway, I appreciate your call, Memphis.
So every single one of us needs to stop paying taxes.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the call.
All right, friend. Keep it up. You have a good night. Bye. All right, let's go out to Binghamton, 607.
Rambo was talking about the Queen Charlotte quite a bit.
Yes.
And has been.
Yes.
For extensively for quite some time. And I want to go back to September 8th, opening night in the NFL. That was Josh Allen's 62nd career regular season game, where Queen equals 62.
Right.
And Buffalo is known as the Queen City.
Right.
But Rambo was talking about Charlotte's Web and how the story of Shanquella Robinson, who's from Charlotte, is connected to Queen Charlotte. And the Carolina Panthers, they play in Charlotte.
Right.
And they have a player who celebrates when he gets a sack. He strikes the Spider-Man pose because his nickname is Spider Burns.
Huh.
And you can look on his Instagram, everyone out there. Brian Burns is the name of the defensive end I'm talking about on the Carolina Panthers who play in Charlotte. And Rambo was talking about Charlotte's Web and how the Hornets destroy her web and how the Hornets play in Charlotte and how Michael Jordan, there's 3:51 on the clock when he's dunking that ball in the dunk contest, that famous picture, and 3:51 is the 26th triangular number, and Jordan, like Queen, equals 26. But I got to tie this back together. So Burns, his nickname is Spider Burns, and what the fuck was I gonna say? I've just lost my.
It's okay. You put enough out there, and you just connected more with Charlotte and the Spider. And again, for people who don't know, Charlotte has the second greatest net wealth out of all the cities in America. New York's the first because it's the biggest, and obviously there's a lot of financial institutions there. But the second richest city in America is Charlotte because all the banks are headquartered there, and it goes with the little spider web design on the $1 bill as well. So appreciate it, friend.
Now I remember. Yeah.
All right, man.
Zach, I just wanted to say one more thing.
Okay.
The Charlotte, Queen Charlotte, her birthday was May 19th, and she died on November 17th. And 1117 is the 187th prime.
Right.
And the Panthers owner, Jerry Richardson, his birthday was 18/7. Jerry Richardson, he was the founder of the Panthers. His birthday is 18/7, and the Queen Charlotte died on 11/17, the 187th prime. But go just real quick, the 519. Cam Newton, his full name in the most pure cipher is 96. Cameron Jarrell Newton in the most pure cipher is 96. And in the 96th NFL season, he won MVP and the Panthers went to Super Bowl 50. That was the 96th NFL season.
Right.
Now, Cam's next passing touchdown is going to be 195. That's going to be his next passing touchdown is going to be his 195th touchdown. Julia Roberts' full name is 195, just like the other 195 he was pointing out. But what I'm saying, long story short, the state bird of North Carolina is the cardinal, is the state bird of North Carolina. It's the cardinal. And the Super Bowl this year is in the Cardinals Stadium. And Cam has obviously a long history with the Cardinal Stadium because in college he won the national championship in Arizona, the Cardinal Stadium. And then months later he made his NFL debut with the Panthers. But also Huey P. Newton's birthday is the same as Michael Jordan's birthday. And Cam Newton used to be in the same apartment. Like Michael Jordan and Cam Newton were neighbors when Cam was playing for the Panthers. It's a big story. You can look it up. They were neighbors, and Huey P. Newton obviously linked with Cam Newton, we know, and Huey P. Newton's birthday is the same as Michael Jordan's birthday. And what I'm saying is there's going to be big stuff happening in the Charlotte area, and the Panthers very well could sign Cam Newton, and they could make a magical run because of the 96s and all that. But that's all I got. Peace.
All right, appreciate it, man. Have a good night. You guys gotta know he's a huge Carolina Panthers fan. Last season when the Panthers were way out, he's like, I'll be shocked if the Panthers don't win the Super Bowl this year. We were like, what? They're not even making the playoffs, man. He does do good research though. Well, what's up, 231? 231, you're on. $231. Michigan went to bed. Good night, Michigan. Let's go out to Canada, 613 Ottawa.
Hello?
Whoa, we went back in time. Not only did we go to Canada, it sounds like it's 100 years ago. What's going on, Ottawa?
Can you hear me?
Sort of.
Zachary?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to tell you about, well, you know, National Treasure with Nicolas Cage?
Indeed.
At the beginning of the movie, they go
Charlotte.
to the Arctic to find the ship.
Yeah, the
called
Charlotte.
Queen Charlotte.
I remember that.
Yeah, that ship is called the Queen Charlotte. I guess then there's some tables because they go to England after that. That's basically in the movie, the Disney movie.
Interesting. Yeah, that movie's very interesting. I'm going to have to go back and check it out with all this Charlotte stuff. Nice.
Got the Templars and all that stuff in it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
When's your next book coming out? Are you still working on it, I guess?
Now I'm working on children's books, still trying to finish the other book. I just can't decide what to put out next. I want the next thing to be a hit. I'm tired of putting all this time into books and they hardly sell anything.
Spinning all these plates in the air, Zachary. You need a secretary or something.
Yeah, I need to, But I do need to finish all the projects and just get it done with.
Oh, well, I know you work hard, man. Who else could say, hey, 10 years I've been at this? Nobody.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I will finish those books. Thanks for the encouragement.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
You can do it, Zach. Okay, have a good night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Back to the future. Take care. Didn't it sound like it was 1920? Let's go out to 626. What's up, 626?
Yo, what's good, Zach? How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How are you?
Salute. Good I'm doing well. Appreciate you, man. I hear you're gonna be back. I hear you're gonna be back up in my city on the 26th. I'm actually gonna be up in the West Coast too, so I might, come through and show some support in person. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything works out for you over there in LA.
Okay, I haven't confirmed that I'm going down there for January 26th. I'd like to. I want to see the community help me get back to where I was at the beginning of the year. I'm definitely going to go down there in the summer for Kobe Bryant Day, just because I feel like that'll get the bigger crowd than wintertime. But I in my mind, I'm going to be there on January 26th too, so I'll keep everyone posted.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be keeping abreast of that. I personally wouldn't go to my city because I'm not really a big fan of it. You know what I mean? It took 21 years of my life. I'm not a fan of that. That debtors. What's the best word for it? Welfare state.
Okay.
But it is what it is. When you gotta get your stuff together and everything like that, and take advantage of that, especially being in the age range that I am. Like, yeah, that's where it's at. Handle that. But a question that I did have in regards to this practice. So basically, an individual would be able to decipher their own death, their own most important life experiences, things of that nature, right? It's a divination tool, correct? For yourself, you can use it for yourself instead of just using it for all these celebrities and things of that nature, correct?
It can be used that way, indeed.
Okay. Other than that, I just gotta say, just keep dropping the knowledge and everything like that. Much support, and I appreciate you for giving a code and a formula to unlock this matrix, and you got my support. Salute.
Appreciate that. Hope we meet in California in the not too distant future. You have a good night, friend.
You as well.
Take care. Okie dokie, 818, also in California. 818, you're on.
Hi, I'm going to make this quick. I just was calling because I know you're going to go, you mentioned you might go to the Idaho University, and I didn't hear anybody mention this, but did you hear about the part where the girls called one of the girls' boyfriends named Jack 10 times?
Somebody named Jack called 10 times, like Jack the Ripper?
Yes. So get this. On the same day that they reported that, Mark Furman came out and started talking about the case too, and he's obviously associated with the OJ trial and that big bloody mess. And so I just decided for the heck of it to just Google Jack the Ripper and the number 10. And Jack the Ripper used to sit at a pub called the 10 Bells to stalk his prey, even though they supposedly don't know who Jack the Ripper is. He sat at 10 bells, ringing the bell. I mean, it's like, I couldn't even believe that one. But also JFK was called Jack. So the address being the death of JFK, the other bloody scene in America history, other than OJ, now this murder, is Jackie O with blood all over her dress. And on the day that they reported that, Mark Furman was brought into the story, the name Jack was brought into the story, there is a radio lady in Australia named Jackie O, and she announced she was retiring. She's age 47. She had long COVID. So all in the same day, you had Jackie O, Jack, which is also a form of Jack, and then you had Jack, the date of JFK's, death, and then you had Jack, the boyfriend, called 10 times in the 10 Bells pub where Jack the Ripper likes to sit and hang. Oh, and Jack the Ripper, here's something very important about Jack the Ripper. He has been associated with the royal family.
Exactly.
When people...
It goes back to the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom.
Huh?
Yeah, it goes back to the UK, the whole Jack the Ripper thing.
Right, but they think that it could have been Queen Victoria's son, Albert.
And with what they're dropping now and showing this all connected to the royal family, I'm sure it probably is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. So anyways, information for today. But
you know what else?
Let you guys
you know what else about the year that this was? So this is 1888.
Oh, it was Jack the Ripper. I forgot. Jack the Ripper, of course. That was when he was doing the murders, was when the founding of the school was taking place.
But 1888. And look at Moscow and
But it was
Gematria.
1888. He did his murders between 1888 and 1890, and the school was founded in 1889. So, they keep showing that in all the pictures. They have the founding date, which is during the time of Jack the Ripper's terror.
And again, Moscow equals 88. So does Russian. And again, Charles is the first monarch of Russian ancestry. So, and again, on his 74th birthday, the news breaks, and Moscow is also 74. That's definitely what they're doing with that detail. Very good.
Yeah, and look up the story about Jack's phone calls, because they give times. They give times that they called, and I'm sure there's something to that, like 2:26, and then it was like 2:52, and they repeated them multiple times. It was like they called 5 times at 2:26, and I'm not exactly, it wasn't very many numbers, but it was repeated multiple times, and you would probably be able to decode that much better than I can.
I'll look at it more carefully. 226 is the number that represents planet and has a big connection with Saturn, and Saturn's connected to death and judgment, so I will look at it more, but great research. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm looking forward to you hopefully going. That'd be really cool.
Well, what day should I go? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Maybe Saturday. Whatever day is better weather for you to drive.
It's going to be cold and snowy probably. We'll see.
Yeah, people are probably pretty freaked out too. They may not be out and about right now.
What should I put on a sign? How do I get these people to engage with me at the college campus?
It might be too... This one is pretty hard. People will they probably won't let the information in because they knew the people. This one is just too weird right now.
That's why somebody's got to go there and shed some light on what's going on.
I know, but I'm just thinking, if I was a student at the school at that time, you're scared, and it's then there's a guy shouting something, and it doesn't make sense in your brain. I just remember 9/11, when people, I know you got it right away, but I really didn't because I was traumatized. And then when people were saying stuff against it, it was my brain couldn't process it.
Yeah.
They are in a state of trauma up there right now. Is all. That's what I mean, I guess.
Well, I was watching Fox News, and they were saying a huge percentage of the female population exited for the semester, but a lot of the guys have stayed in school, so...
Yeah, because it's so horrific. And then they're also saying that there was a stalker, one of the girls had a stalker, yet where's the Ring videos? It's if your daughter has a stalker, these things are $100 to put on the front door,
Right.
Oh, and the Range Rover is the car of the royal family. And I looked it up because obviously they did make a big point of that Range Rover. And the royal family, the Queen was reported to have had 30 Range Rovers. So
Philip had that accident in the Range Rover. Yeah. It's all pointing back to the royals. All right. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good night. Thank you. All right, we're almost out of show. We got 3 people on hold. Keep it short. We'll get them all in. Michigan, 616. Oh, that was super fast because they just hung up. Well, we're in luck again. Another Michigan caller. 231. 231. Actually, let's go out to Vegas. 702. 702, you're on.
Zach.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, man, how you doing, man? Long time listener, man. First time caller. I just wanted to give you a shout out, man. You looking nice today, man. That's all, man.
All right.
You look nice.
Sweet lady got me a
Really?
sweatshirt or a sweater. So.
That's right, man. Yeah, but keep up the good work, man. I love the work, man. I see it everywhere.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right, take care. Personally, I don't think blue's my color, but I'm not a big fashion guy. Thanks for the compliment. Let's go out to 803. What's up, 803?
Hey, Zach. Appreciate your work. This is Jay. Just got a couple of thoughts that I wanted to run by you. Patrick Mahomes recently had a son. He named him Patrick Brown LaVon Mahomes III, and that equals 143, and Super Bowl 57 equals 143. I also am looking at the possibility of a Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl.
Andy Reid Bowl. The Andy Reid Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, the last time that he was in a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles was against Tom Brady. It was Patriots versus Eagles. That was 18 years, and it'll be 18 years and 8 days from that Super Bowl to this one coming up. And right now he's 1-2 in Super Bowls. And if he wins this Super Bowl, he'll be 2-2, and 22 equals Eagles. So it's just some thoughts that I was thinking about potentially for the future.
Okay, yeah, that's possible. So Andy Reid just got his 112th win with the Chiefs against the Rams. And that's interesting because Super Bowl equals 112, and so does Chiefs. And the last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in the Joe Montana Bowl, The Rock, he was in that show Ballers, and in the episode 112 days before the Super Bowl, he bought the Kansas City Chiefs in the episode. We talk about that number a lot with championships, so it's interesting that Reid would get his 112th win versus the defending Super Bowl champion, the Rams, who also used to be in Missouri not that long ago. And then after this NFL, by the way, the Sunday games fell on Lawrence Day. It was Lawrence Day this past Sunday, and Trevor Lawrence upset the Ravens. But the Kansas athlete who I talked about who died by the numbers, John Haddell, again, Kansas City is in Missouri, but it's right there on the border of Kansas. He was from the town of Lawrence, Kansas, and then he dies by the numbers. And let's not forget that Len Dawson died by the numbers perfectly. Len Dawson died 172 days before the Super Bowl, and Kansas City Chiefs is 172. So the Chiefs are, again, I rank the Chiefs as the second most likely team to be in the Super Bowl in the AFC at the beginning of the season. And I wouldn't be shocked. And the one thing that's interesting about the Eagles is their home field, Liberty Financial Field, equals 103. This is the 103rd NFL season. So, I mean, they could do that. A lot of times when a Super Bowl, they'll have a big ritual. Like, it was the John Gruden Bowl years ago. His two teams, the Raiders and the Bucks. It's the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl. So, a possible Super Bowl scenario, no doubt about it. The last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, they began 10-1. Philadelphia equals 101. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. But, yeah, good thoughts.
All right, appreciate it, bro. Hope you have a great night.
All right, yeah, you too, man. Take care. Well, I'll tell you what, my night would have been greater if I didn't have to do the radio show, because then I could have actually ate dinner. But I did have a little bowl of blueberries while we were doing the show. I don't know if you guys saw, but Sweet Lady tried to bring me a big plate of food, and I didn't exactly want to eat a big plate of food while I was doing the show, so I will eat when it's over, and it's later than I want to eat, but, the itinerary was tight today. We had some snow. Sweet Lady wasn't comfortable driving. I had to pick her up from work. You know what was annoying is I got here with 4 minutes to showtime, And YouTube, when you start a live stream, there's a button that lights up blue, and then you can start the stream. It just would not turn blue, and it finally turned blue like after the intro began. I was like, "Is YouTube messing with me? It's not going to let me start the show." I had to rush around to get her on time, and now it's not going to let me on. If you could tell, I was a little bit irritated at the beginning of the show, and it was mostly because YouTube was pissing me off. But anyway, thank you to the super chatters. I'll stay on for a little bit in case DK wants to call in, and until next time. All right. I don't know if there's going to be a DK Stonewood sighting, but again, let me say thank you to the people who gave super chats, and then we can wrap it up because I do need to eat something. I'll tell you what's the weirdest thing. Oh, here's DK. Since I moved to this new house, I wake up every single night between like 3 and 4 in the morning. Every single night I wake up. I'm just like, what is going on at this house? There's something going on in this area that wakes me up. What's up, DK?
Finish saying everything you're saying if possible, because I'm like 5 minutes away from home. I'm driving. I would rather look through my notes while I'm not driving.
Well, call me back in 5 minutes then.
Okay, you're already done. I could just talk about what's on the top of my head then, but I'll get to the notes by the time I get home. So I was catching up to your stuff from the week in the last 2 weeks, I guess, since there was a show. I guess you started a countdown for LA. What do you have, 56 days now? January 26th?
Well, what I said is I would go down to LA if we could get the Patreon support back up to what it was at the beginning of the year before I did all these road trips and it went way down. So it depends on if people support or not. But I will go down to LA for Kobe Bryant Day in August if January 26th doesn't come through. So.
Okay, in the summer. What's January 26th? They're not even playing on that day?
They play on the 24th.
Who plays on the 26th? The Clippers?
Hold on. Let me pull up the ESPN NBA schedule.
Everybody shares that arena now. What, the Kings, the Clippers, the Sparks, the Lakers?
January 26th. Let's see. Is there a game? Yeah, the Clippers do host the Spurs that day. So there actually is a game at that stadium that day. So I guess that's not too bad. That could work.
It's not the same exact fans, but it's like the same people.
Right.
I've been to both games plenty of times and, scalped for better tickets or, whatever, exchange tickets. And it's always the same guys that have the tickets. The scalpers are the same.
The 24th is the Lakers and the Clippers. So... Oh, he disconnected. He's driving through the Hollywood Hills, I suppose. But, so the day of the Kobe Bryant anniversary, you got the Clippers hosting the Spurs. Okay, he's already back. What's up, DK?
My fault. I was trying to hit my remote from my gate, and I grabbed the phone and hung up on accident. So you're saying the Lakers play the Clippers on the 24th?
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
That's perfect. That is perfect. And then I also heard about the New York City cafe lounge bar for the Truth Seeker Lounge or whatever, where everybody knows your name and everybody's always glad you came.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm all for that. We need one. We need one in every major city, I would say. Well, I was trying to put in the chat, you didn't see, Rambo was talking a lot about spiders, and then you were talking about 42, and I was trying to get through while you guys were on that to type in the search. Why does the spider have the number 42 on it? It's weird. I don't, tell me what you think from seeing what that says, because I don't know. I mean, I know the Jackie Robinson and all that stuff about 42 and all, and all the different 42s, especially with the the black people. But why would they have 42 on the spider?
Well, what spider has 42 on it?
Just type in why does the Spider have 42 on it? And there's a whole bunch of stuff on the internet about that, which I wasn't even aware of. So I was just wondering what your take on it is.
Yeah, I'm not aware of this. I'll have to look it up. It's a reference to baseball legend Jackie Robinson's jersey number. He was a barrier-smashing black superhero in baseball, and Miles is a color-smashing black superhero in Spider-Man comics. Ah, okay.
Yeah, the Spider-Man guy, they asked him, well, why would you put a 42 on it? And he said, oh, because of Jackie Robinson. And I'm like, wait a minute, that just makes no sense at all. What the hell does Spider-Man have to do with Jackie Robinson, you know? So there's got to be something there.
Yeah, it is interesting how 42 stemmed on black history. I know if you surveyed 100 Americans that happen to be black what their favorite comic book character is, the majority are going to say Spider-Man. I always wondered why that was. I don't know why Spider-Man is so connected to black culture, but there is a real connection there. So.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I just got home. Let me go upstairs. How's my reception right now?
It's good.
Okay. Rambo was talking about Pluto, the ninth planet, but also he was saying the last planet, and I have some different information on that. That Pluto is actually, I talked about this before, I was originally 11 planets, now they're saying there's 9, so 9/11. But after Pluto, there's another planet which has been totally misconstrued and twisted in the New Age community called Planet X. Planet X is Roman numeral 10. So there's a 10th planet. It just doesn't orbit like on the ecliptic like, you know, the rest of the planets do. It's like it's off, kind of like on how the moon is like not on the ecliptic. It orbits like that. So you would have to know exactly where it is to look at it. It's like past Pluto. So, and then the other planet, which is now the Van Allen asteroid belt, which had multiple names in different cultures. And then, in general, I mean, for the last 2 weeks, while we're like, you know, we're decoding all the minutia and, you know, the news, and, you know, they're launching mannequins into space, and then they're launching fake missiles into Taiwan one day, and then into the Ukraine then the next day, then into Poland on the third day. All while that's going on, they're having the G20 summit where, you know, they're planning the digital prison tied to the digital money and the digital credit score, which will be tied to some kind of digital vaccine or something as well. And like when the lockdowns first started in 2020, that was on 322. I did a couple of interviews right after that, like right at the beginning of April, and notice that terminology too, the lockdown instead of locked up, locked down. Anyway, right when that Corona hoax thing started, I did a couple of those interviews, and I said this is just going to be they started this on a ritual day, 322, and went into like the skull and bones stuff, and I was like, this is just going to be a dry run and a dress rehearsal of sorts, just, you know, to see how like the mind-controlled and zombified population is going to react and how quickly they'll believe the story and comply, and, you know, kind of like a litmus test. And then also to gauge like the resistance and opposition, you know, and various levels of lockdowns were tested across the world, you know, and even across the U.S. and different states and different cities. Some states and cities had like no restrictions where people were going to, and then others were faced with like, you know, heavy restrictions, kind of like the Commonwealth territories of Canada and Australia. So, you know, they were kind of just checking to see, you know, at all different levels what was going to be the opposition and how that's all going to work out. And they did like, you know, when you do a last minute dress rehearsal, you're checking to see if there's any little fine, you know, adjustments you have to make. So they're checking all their infrastructure, if it's in line with what they need to do, and, you know, all their operations and where they need to make slight adjustments here and there. So like, you know, that's what's really going on. I told people in 2015 we're going to get rid of the dollar and go to like Chinese money. And I was off on that. I mean, that was 7 years ago, but we are going to the way the Chinese use money, which is that credit system. They're now like basically putting in China now. You're going to, with that, it'll be the government digital money. They'll take out all the cryptocurrencies, and then, in order to use that, like be part of the beast system, you're going to have to comply with all kinds of other, bullshits and restrictions. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on that, because that's why we're being flooded with so many different things right now, because that's like the real agenda in the background, regardless of how many famous people are dying or not dying or whatever. So, I mean, that doesn't really affect us as far as like the pop culture, but this other stuff's really going to affect us, especially those of us who are awake. So, kind of these people who forcefully kept themselves asleep, I mean, they kind of deserve to lay in the bed they made for themselves, but we shouldn't be subject to it, so we got to keep an eye on that. Also, I want to comment on the autophagy thing. I know you were talking about that some more. I would say, like, in general, that would be like for, say you have something going on that you want to get rid of, or, maybe you want to do like a once in a periodic fast, kind of like how they do for like Ramadan, or what I'm saying, like periodic fast. But in generally, to be focusing on autophagy like on a daily basis, I would just say right at this point, that would be for like overweight people or people that have health issues. And if you're like healthy,
well, that's why I keep making the point. I mean, that's the majority of America.
yeah. I mean, yeah. But like for somebody like you and me, like in that respect, when you're like lean and healthy, breakfast literally is the most important meal of the day. If you're like overweight and you see some of these like bodybuilders and stuff, they do fasted cardio in the morning because they're really trying to like push everything they do to the extreme. But like, for instance, like, somebody like you or me or anybody else who's like, very lean, like that is, you want to get your body like primed and ready for the day. You kind of like want to eat with the sun, the sun goes through certain frequencies throughout the day. And like, if you're having to get rid of like toxins and poisons constantly, then yeah, the autophagy. But if you're like, for the most part eating healthy and you're already thin and stuff, you want to eat some healthy stuff to start the day and kind of go by the colors of the sun, or like, the colors of our chakra. So it would be like kind of eating a lot of mostly fruits, which is all water, all in the beginning part of the day. Then through the middle part of the day, you start transitioning into vegetables, which are just green fruits. And then toward the end part of the day, the proteins with some vegetables, and certain like leafy greens go really good with certain proteins as far as how, it's digested. But like eating these meals that are combined, like breakfast, lunches, and dinners with like all the food groups together, that's like, you can't absorb different food groups together like that, because there's different processes and different acids in your stomach. Like either it's like going to be for starches, you can't put that with like, and sugars, you can't put that with protein. Those are the worst two things to combine. That's why they got us on meat and potato diet, starch and protein together. It's just the worst. What else did I have? I don't have that one thing in notes. I must have left it somewhere. That was my a couple decodes that I had. Did you see the new trailer for the new Indiana Jones movie?
I didn't know there was new Indiana Jones. That's funny.
Yeah, they're using some technology. They say some crazy anti-aging technology, because Harrison Ford's in it too, but he's like 40 years old in it or something. And right now he's really like 80 or 70 or something. But I saw, it looks like the plot of the movie is very also like, revealing as far as, the truth community and stuff. Those movies always were. I wanted to say one more thing. Now I forgot already. It's what happens when I start looking at a fresh bowl. As soon as I get home, I forget what else I was thinking. Anyway, I think I'll leave it at that then. It's already getting past 9 o'clock. I'm sure I heard your beginning of the show that you were rushing. You didn't get anything. You didn't even get to eat before the show.
Sure. All right, DK. Well, I appreciate it as always. Enjoy that bowl, man.
Yeah, I'm still trying to make a salad here between two different strains right now. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. glad to be back on. Glad TFR's back. Seemed like everybody was kind of antsy-pantsy.
Yeah. All right, DK.
I'll talk soon.
Yeah, have a good night. See you. Somebody else is calling in. 772?
Hey, Zach. I wanted to finish my thought because earlier I was totally caught off guard. You've never picked up for me that fast, so I totally wasn't expecting it.
Okay.
But what I did have a real thought though. There's a link I'm gonna put in the chat. Here we go. It's a YouTube link, and so if you go to the timestamp 6:55 on it, it's about Joe Biden and all the bloopers that he's done basically, and like basically how stupid he is. It's like a big compilation of really dumb stuff that he said or whatever in public. But in one of the things inside the compilation, it was about so someone took a picture of him and he had a card in his hand telling him exactly what to do. Like it said, here, let me read it. It said, you enter the like in caps, you enter the Roosevelt room and say hello to your participant. You take your seat. You give brief comments, 2 minutes, like that. And it shows, like, you know, all these presidents and all these people, you know, do you think, you know, like, it's literal proof that these people are not their own people. They're completely controlled. And it's like, who wrote it, you know? Is the mainstream going to talk about who wrote that card? No. You know?
Sure. Well, I mean, these guys, I mean, it's not a surprise, right? They're reading off teleprompters all the time, so.
Yeah, this is like the next level, you know? But, wait, you had asked me earlier, another thing I wanted to say, another thought. So I tried to look up how much the colonists paid in taxes to the British, in the 1700s. And I can't find that information online anywhere, what percentage they paid. So, these people literally tried to overthrow the government because of the taxes that they're paid. But, we're not told how much that was. And right now we live in a world that, like, if you live in California, you're paying 50% in taxes. And, honestly, anybody who's in California, I don't even know what's wrong with you. Why are you living there? Like, I would not live there. I'm not going to work 6 months of the year and give that money to the government. I refuse. But, whatever, people live there. I guess, that's the modern feminized man. Can't even fucking move out of a place. But anyway, you asked me earlier why I had been asking why I wanted to go over there, and maybe I'll inspire somebody else when I say this, but it's just because I'm sick of the world. I want to live a normal life when I grow up, but I know that that's not going to happen. And I don't want to die in a World War III or whatever bullshit war they come up with. I just want to live a normal life. And,
well, you're on the right coast to be in. I'm on the wrong coast if World War III breaks out. I'm the one that's closer to Russia and China. It's just like when at the beginning of COVID, Fox News was advertising that new video game where China had taken over the whole west coast of the U.S. I mean, probably at some point in the future, that is probably the script.
Well, so. I'm talking about, like, being drafted, but yeah, I mean, you're right. You never know what's going to happen, but I just turned 18, so I'm perfect for getting in some draft, but. It's just the whole government and just everything. I mean, I've had a pretty bad week this week just because, it's like they just, it's like I can't live my life in peace. It's like everything is fucking, it's like I always have to worry about the government or like some fine or whatever bullshit that I'm getting in the mail, because I can't fucking have my garbage cans outside, and it's like, I'm just so sick of it. But, like I was watching a video that basically, like, parents can kill their kids legally, and I'm not talking about abortion or anything, I'm talking about, like, actual real conscious kids. And, like, you can refuse medical treatment for a kid, even though the kid will die and it will save his life. A parent can just, like, not have their kid get a blood transfusion, and the kid, it's happened thousands of times, and the kids have died. I mean, I even know people have done this, of course, for religious reasons, because, religion's so great. And, these parents, they don't get in trouble. The religion doesn't get in trouble. Nobody gets in trouble. And we have all these stupid laws and all these regulations. for other things, you know. And it's like, you know, kids are property. When it comes to the law, kids are property, not human beings. You know, it's fucking slavery. You know, how can you tell me that we live in a free country when a huge percentage of the population is literally owned by somebody else?
Well, just remember, you're 18 now, so you're old enough to go out and be an adult and live on your own legally. That's the great news about being 18. So.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I had to say. You know, I just want to, you know, I want to change the way that the world is, you know, because I'm sick of it and I don't want to live in the world. I just want to live my life, you know.
Indeed. Well, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, if you're also sick of your parents, I mean, don't live with your parents anymore. Go out and work and get your own place. And you know, it's like I had some electricians come over today, and they're both two young guys. I bet they were both like in their early 20s. And I was like, see, this is exactly what everyone should do. Skip college. Just go be an electrician. Be making a good amount. Boom. So.
Yeah, I'm happy with my dad. I'm happy living here. But
well, that's good.
When I was 18, before I was 18, I wasn't happy living with my mom, and I could never leave that situation.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah. Have a good night. I hope you enjoy your meal, because yeah, I had the same thing today. I didn't eat like the whole day. I was starving.
Well, the show's still going, so I can't eat yet. But all right, appreciate it.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, have a good night. See you. Okay. All right. Yeah, and hold on. I didn't get to say thank you to the Super Chatters either. Let me say thank you to the Super Chatters. There was a $5 donation on the Cash App. Shout out to Math Tucon. I think he had a Super Chat, too. He did a Cash App and a Super Chat. HD's Quality, thank you. Gema89. Let Rambo cook, they said. Thank you. Pale Horse Rider, thank you. You're welcome. Rick James said he donated because my mom asked him to. Thank you, Rick James. So did Shark. And neither of you guys need to donate. You guys have already done more than enough, but I appreciate it. And Gina, who's always so generous, chipped in a big fat $20 bill. She said, so glad I caught you live again, Zach. Rambo is so interesting. Indeed he is. And Matthew Khan, he doubled up tonight. He went with the $2 Cash App and the $5 Super Chat, or vice versa. He wrote, I need likes and more subscribers. Again, you guys, Matthew Khan, he's going like down. Make sure you're subscribed to Rambo too at the Truth Codes. Matthew Khan, this is his channel, and he's putting out a lot of videos, and he's just going over a lot of, you know, good gematria examples over the years. So I advised him to start covering some new things to get more people to his channel, because people aren't usually looking for the past, they're looking for the present on the tube. Bamboo Soldier also chipped in $5. He said, thanks as always, Zach, for the work. And he said that $5 is for a sweet lady. So hopefully she heard that, because she's going to be mad that I didn't get off right at 9. And Cuts1 chipped in $2 and said, bless this movement. Divine Lion chipped in another $2 and said, peace and love, family. And Edward chipped in $2.99. Thank you again. And Charlie Beats also chipped in $2. Thank you so much. And I think Mr. Scott did a super chat at the end of the last live stream I did, like as I was signing off. So thank you for that too, Mr. Scott. That was in the last live stream I did. He said, Zach, you always grinding and the knowledge is priceless. I think you're right. They want to make gematria seem like a joke to get people away from it. Yeah, that's a good way to undermine the subject. So anyhow, if you guys want to give me some feedback, well, I saw Jason said that there's a basketball game at University of Idaho Friday, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to aim to get out there Friday, weather permitting. It was snowy and icy today. It is the cold time of the year, but if the roads are good to go, I think that's what I'm going to aim to do, is be out there just in time for that college basketball game and engage with the students. If you guys want to give me some sign ideas, I think maybe if I have a sign, I don't know if I want to use the megaphone. The megaphone's too aggressive. And sadly, I still have not picked up that. I have not got the speaker mic set up yet. I did almost make a Black Friday purchase. I didn't. I almost got the speaker mic set up that Lincoln Karam let us use in New York. that would be helpful if I went to University of Idaho. I kind of wish I do have that. The problem is this new house I live at, they don't recognize the address, so I can't get anything shipped here. So when you're shopping those Black Friday super deals, I was like, well, where am I going to have them ship it to? So, but yeah, I think I do want to get out there and try to engage with some other young people at the University of Idaho and see how they respond to the knowledge. All right, Truth Seeker, have a good night. If you're in the other part of the world, have a good day. And until next time.